Runic monsters and runic stones. That is a world dominated by monsters, where the powerful rule, and those with more than 60% of runic spirit have a chance to become a runic master. A white-haired boy wielding a sniper rifle says that as for him, his runic spirit is 27%. He fires 3 shots with the weapon at a winged monster, while wishing not just to become a runic master, but a runic king. Among the ruins of a great city, monstrous rats devour something. In the distance, a bird approaches the rodents feasting on a corpse. One of the rats notices the approach, but it's already too late, and it is snatched up by the bird of prey. The hawk soars with the prey in its talons. However, an even larger winged creature hovers in the skies and is spotted by the smaller bird, which doesn't stand a chance and is swiftly annihilated. That is the purple electric eagle, a runic beast that emits powerful purple lightning while flying and is seen as the king of the skies. After the kill, the monster lands on a building and begins cleaning its feathers. Suddenly, a shot is fired at the creature. It notices the attack and dodges in time, making the bullet hit the ledge of the building where it had been perched. Dong Zi, a rune sniper, veteran of Huang Shi's 3rd secondary school. Feng Ru, a runic swordsman from the same school, asks if our hero missed a shot. Dong Zi quickly takes aim again and questions that remark, saying the word miss isn't in his dictionary as he fires more shots. He shoots 3 times with the weapon at the winged monster, missing all of them. However, that creates the perfect opening, giving our hero a flawless shot at the runic eagle's neck, which he hits with a single, fatal shot. The monster plummets from the sky, already lifeless, and crashes to the ground with great force. Feng Ru celebrates the victory, saying our hero is truly amazing, and says they must be the fastest team to pass the test. Dong Zi notices something and turns around, saying he's wrong. This makes Feng Ru turn as well, worried to see what's behind them. Our hero states that the test isn't over yet as both notice red eyes watching them from a hole in the wall. The creature realizes it has been discovered and finally emerges, breaking through the wall. Feng Ru is startled by the appearance of the monster, which quickly attacks him with its claws, causing the swordsman to begin fading away as if turning into digital data, until he leaves 2 runestones behind. They fall to the ground between our hero and the monster. Dong Zi points the rifle at the creature, aiming at the horned white wolf, a B-rank rune beast that has the speed of a wolf combined with the strength and defense of a rhinoceros. Our hero fires at the monstrous wolf. The bullets hit the creature squarely, but it takes no damage. Dong Zi already knew the test wouldn't be easy, seeing that the horned white wolf's frontal defense is much greater than the feathers of the purple electric eagle. This makes our hero push off the ground and leap across the area while once again aiming at the monster. At that moment, Dong Zi fires 3 shots at the rune wolf, hitting it but causing no damage, and then lands on the ground. He knows the creature is already locked onto him and there's no way to escape. Not to mention the bullets will only buy him a little time, so he needs to think fast. Our hero notices the ceiling above the monster, and the steel skeleton of the building gives him an idea that just might work. Determined, Dong Zi once again aims his weapon as the rune wolf approaches for an attack. He fires a shot at the steel beam, which destabilizes the ceiling, which begins to collapse onto the now surprised horned white wolf. The falling stones and concrete strike it and quickly bury it, but the creature is still alive, merely trapped under the rubble. Our hero sees the 2 rune stones within reach. He grabs both, knowing that if he infuses the weapon rune stone, it becomes a weapon, and the talisman rune stone can be equipped on weapons to activate rune abilities. Our hero activates both runes, creating an energy sword. Dong Zi points the rune weapon at the monster and attacks it with force, commanding it to perish. The creature roars in rage at that moment. The blow strikes the monster, which is finally executed, turning into data. A message says the test ended in nearly 6 minutes, and that Dong Zi received an S grade, while Feng Ru received a C. Our hero also turns into data. He wakes up shortly afterward with a serious look inside a capsule. The place is like a facility in a corridor with more identical capsules, where a man observes everything with a clipboard. The machine opens, and from it our hero emerges while Feng Ru complains, saying that he had said the purple electric eagle was the final question. The young man asks why there was a white-horned wolf at the end, and the evaluator responds that he never said there wouldn't be additional questions. Many other youths complain about the difficulty of the admission test, which was the same for everyone, but say the wolf at the end was unfair even for those with high rank abilities. One person punches one of the capsules, breaking it while complaining that they hadn't expected any additional questions. Everyone is surprised and looks curiously at the girl. Zhao Xixin, heir of the Zhao family from the Zhao martial arts school, nicknamed the Demoness of the 3rd school. Our hero asks her to calm down a bit, saying she'll have to pay triple compensation for damaging public property. Zhao Xixin grabs him by the collar and asks if he was the one who defeated the horned white wolf. Dong Zi says yes, prompting Feng Ru to hug him and excitedly say he's amazing. The evaluator slams his hand on the table, ordering everyone to be quiet and telling them to stay silent. He explains that rune beasts, in real life, won't give them time to react, and that even if they can defeat A-rank monsters, they can still fall to a B rank. And this time, only one student managed to execute the horned white wolf and earned an S grade. The instructor asks Dongzi to come forward to receive his result. Feng Ru celebrates, saying our hero is the best, and Zhou Zixian says that's to be expected from her best friend. As Dongzi turns to return to the young swordsman, a boy sticks his foot out to trip him, but our hero notices and stomps on the boy's foot, making him scream in pain. The boys say our hero must only be good in simulations, and that getting high scores there isn't important. A rune master is determined at birth, and they will be the elite. At that moment, Zhou Zixian, who can access nearly all of her own energy, asks the boys who dares talk behind her best friend's back. She delivers several knocks to their heads, and with bumps swelling, they apologize to her. Dongzi says they're right. Only those who meet the rune energy requirement can become rune masters. And even though he was happy with the score, he says the amount he can access is 27%, which makes him show an awkward smile. It all began in the year 2030, when humans had no idea of the disaster that was about to happen. That year, countless wormholes appeared in the skies of Earth, and from them, innumerable meteors fell, destroying human civilization. Faced with such a catastrophe, humanity was completely helpless. The meteor shower lasted for 3 months, reducing the world's population to less than 30%. And just when mankind thought they had survived the disaster, something far worse happened. Creatures known as runic monsters emerged from the wormholes and invaded Earth. They were ruthless and violent, and even the most powerful weapons on Earth couldn't harm the higher-ranked monsters. Humans hid in fear as terror reigned over the world and their homes were destroyed. Until the runic hunters appeared. They could use runic energy and runic stones to become stronger. At that moment, humanity began fighting back against the monsters and tried to protect their last remaining habitat. They built a barrier made of runic energy, preventing the runic monsters from entering and allowing ordinary people to survive. But the war between humans and creatures never truly ended. A man warns that if Dongzi gets caught, he won't be able to help him. Our hero smiles and tells his boss that he understands and he can leave it to him. With that, he revs up his bike to make the delivery, saying it's time to work. His boss just watches silently as Dongzi rides off. Our hero rides through the city, knowing that this delivery will earn him a lot of money and that he'll be able to buy Xiaoxai, her favorite doll. At that moment, a bright light appears in front of him and takes him by surprise. The police officer says it's a routine inspection and asks him to pull over, which scares our hero since he's carrying illegal goods and could be jailed for 3 years. With no choice, Dongzi speeds up and turns into another street, fleeing from the police, who immediately order him to stop. The officer calls for backup, saying a delivery driver is fleeing a routine inspection, and they start chasing our hero. Dongzi accelerates and turns into an alley, making the officers lose sight of him. Our hero looks back and says that if they want to catch him, they better keep dreaming, but then he slips on a banana peel and crashes to the ground. Dongzi gets up, saying it's his unlucky day, but is terrified to see that he lost the package and can't afford to lose it. He looks to the side and realizes that what he was transporting were runic monster eggs, and now it makes sense why they paid so much for the delivery. If someone's caught with that, it won't just be 3 years in prison. Dongzi puts the eggs back in the box, relieved that at least they're intact, but then he realizes there were 3 eggs and one of them is missing. That makes him look around in every direction, calling out for the egg and asking it to show itself wherever it may be. Our hero finds the egg in a trash bin and gets excited because of that. When he picks it up, he notices there's a hole in the egg and wonders if it won't hatch anymore, but 2 eyes watch him from the shadows. At that moment, a web is fired at Dongzi, who quickly ducks, avoiding the attack that strikes and shatters a wall. When he turns around, our hero realizes it's a rank C monster, a bone-piercing spider that fears fire, has a carapace as tough as metal, and is a cunning creature. Dongzi draws a knife to fight. The spider stares him down, and as soon as it fires its powerful webs, our hero jumps, evading the attack. This also allows him to reach the monster and quickly strike it with his knife. But when the weapon collides with the spider's exoskeleton, no damage is done, and it bounces away. Our hero clutches his trembling hand, saying that, just as expected, even freshly born, a regular weapon can't even scratch its outer shell. The monster shows no mercy and quickly charges with its sharp legs. At that moment, Dongzi understands he has no choice but to use that ability. "Run!" shouts our hero as he starts fleeing from the creature with all his strength. But the runic monster fires its web, blocking Dongzi's escape route, which makes him tense, and because of that, he ends up getting caught by the foot. The spider quickly knocks him down and pulls him, making him scream in fright. Our hero desperately tries to cut the web with his knife, but it's too tough and he can't slice through it. The monster raises one of its legs, ready to strike, making Dongzi realize he's screwed. And at that moment, The attack lands, injuring him. Drops fall to the ground as our hero hangs from a lamppost, webs holding him in place. Dongzi realizes he couldn't defeat that spider that had just been born and wonders if he's destined to be an ordinary human, if that's truly his fate. But he still hasn't avenged his parents, and that gives him the determination not to die there. At that moment, something speaks, saying that fate is an excuse for failure. You either take control of your destiny, or let it control your life, and asks if he accepts the chance to change his fate. It asks again if he accepts the system. Our hero says he accepts anything if it means becoming a rune master and avenging his parents. The system begins loading and soon says it's ready, detecting that the user's body is weak. It heals his wounds and, in the end, grants him 10 attribute points. Our hero's attribute window appears just as the spider approaches. Seeing those stats, he's confused since it looks like the games he's played before. And since he's lacking strength, he decides to invest all the points into strength. That causes his muscles to grow a bit. Dongzi realizes the system's attributes are actually affecting his body. A daily mission appears, saying our hero must defeat the spider and will earn a potion that can increase his rune spirit. This leaves our hero stunned. He says that even if it's unbelievable, just hearing there's a chance to grow stronger is enough for him. Dongzi uses all his strength to break free, which sends the spider flying backward as he shouts that he's going to fight with everything he's got. After escaping the webs, he looks at his hands, noticing he's much stronger than he's ever been. The spider, thrown far away, returns and attacks our hero, who understands that even stronger, defeating the creature won't be easy. He tries to stay calm to think clearly, knowing that all rune monsters have a weakness. He just needs to find it and exploit it to gain an advantage. Dongzi looks at his motorcycle and remembers it still has fuel. And that's the answer. Since the bone-piercing spider fears fire, if he can create fire using the gasoline, he'll gain the upper hand. The spider charges straight at him, but our hero quickly dodges, causing the monster to crash into a dumpster. Dongzi quickly knocks his own bike to the ground and opens the fuel tank, spilling gasoline onto the ground. The monster turns to face our hero, who knows that the creature has poor eyesight and uses nerve sensors in its body to detect vibrations in the air to locate prey. And so he throws a rock into the gasoline puddle. That catches the spider's attention and it leaps toward the spot, immediately smashing part of the ground with a powerful strike from its scythe-like legs. Our hero lights a lighter and says it's time for her to disappear. Then he tosses the lit lighter at the monster. Later that night in the city, our hero rides his motorcycle through the streets and stops in front of a building. He climbs the stairs, still in disbelief at how his strength has increased and that the system isn't just an illusion, which means he really does have a chance to become a rune master. However, our hero wonders what he should do with those 2 rune beast eggs. Maybe cook and eat them. Dongzi opens the apartment door, remembering hearing that the meat from those monsters contains rune energy and that people who eat it become stronger. But if those 2 eggs are from bone-piercing spiders, our hero will definitely lose his appetite. At that moment, a little girl in a wheelchair greets him cheerfully. Bai Xiaoxi, Dongzi's sister and a girl who loves researching rune beasts. The young girl notices her brother's condition and asks if he got hurt. Our hero says he fell off his bike and that it's nothing, so she doesn't need to worry. She sees the wound marks on Dongzi's shirt, but he tells her it's just a little paint that got on it when he fell to the ground. Bai Xiaoxi is impressed and asks her brother when he got so muscular. Our hero looks at himself and is surprised by what he sees. He believes that since he added points to strength, his body must have changed. He says it must be the result of his training, and his sister gets excited and says that even if he doesn't become a runic master, at least the female runic masters will want him. That surprises our hero, and he asks where she learned all that nonsense. After laughing a bit, she shows him a light novel she's reading. Dongzi grabs the book and tells her to stop reading that kind of stuff, but his sister asks him to give it back. She calls him mean and starts to tear up. But our hero pulls out a plushie of a monster and tells her to look at what he has. She hugs the plushie, saying it's the one she really wanted, and asks if he got rich. Our hero says that when he becomes a runic master, he'll be able to heal her legs. Bai Xiaoxi asks if Dongzi hit his head when he fell, which leaves him confused. He crosses his arms, clearly annoyed, and says that she'll believe him soon enough. After that interaction, the 2 of them finish dinner and thank each other for the meal. Our hero watches his sister happily enjoying the dessert on her plate, remembering that after the disaster, she lost feeling in her legs and has been in a wheelchair ever since. And compared to those who lost their lives, they were lucky. But life has still been hard for them. But now things are different, and with the help of the system, Dongzi is certain that he can become a runic master. They are the richest people of this era. They can join the military and receive huge benefits. They can join companies and start as vice presidents with $1,000,000 salaries. They can form their own teams and go out to hunt runic beasts, selling them at auctions. And if they manage to catch a high-rank one, they can earn a fortune, around 100 million. That makes our hero determined to become a runic master. Meanwhile, at the Flying Donkey Logistics Company, a man gets punched hard in the face. He falls to the ground saying he doesn't know where the goods are, but someone else says that if they don't find his stuff by tonight, none of them will live to see tomorrow. A bald guy cracks his knuckles and says that if they lost his big brother's goods, then they'd better be ready to meet Hayes. Another man steps forward saying they've worked together before, and he knows exactly what happens when someone loses his merchandise. Zhou Wenlong, the boss of the Huangshi area, says he should know how important those things were and asks how they're going to fix the situation. Lu Lei bows and says he gave the delivery to Dong Zi, but hasn't been able to contact him yet, and asks if the police got him. Zhou Wenlong says he better pray that didn't happen, because the buyer is not someone they can afford to offend. That makes Lu Lei beg them to give him just one day, and they'll find the goods and deliver them personally tomorrow. But the smuggler says he'll go after Dong Zi himself to retrieve the item, and the company boss says he's just a student. There's no need for them to act personally. One of Zhou Wenlong's thugs punches Lu Lei and asks if he's trying to order his brother around, then says he'd better hand over the kid's information. Frightened, our hero's boss says he'll tell them everything. In the end, the thug says the delivery guy is a third-year student at Huangshi's third school. Zhou Wenlong orders him to find the boy tomorrow and threatens him, saying that if he can't handle a high school student, he'll face the consequences. The man replies that there's no need to worry and they can leave it to them. Our hero tells his sister not to open the door for strangers, and she answers that she knows and that she's not a 3 or 4-year-old anymore. Dong Zi says he's leaving, and when he comes back tonight, he'll cook her favorite, sugar-fried chestnuts. That makes Bai Xiaoxai excited. While walking through the streets, our hero greets 2 elderly men who greet him back, but he knows he can't carry the eggs with him and that he has no choice but to hide them at home and find a chance to destroy them. Someone walks through the alley and spots Dong Zi walking down the street. The person approaches and tries to grab our hero's shoulder, but Dong Zi notices and quickly grabs his wrist. Feng Ru complains about the pain in his hand and begs for mercy, but is questioned about why he was sneaking around, to which he replies that he had to use the alley as a bathroom. And that's when he saw our hero. Dong Zi says that place is disgusting and tells his friend to stay away from him. Embarrassed, the guy asks him not to be like that and to wait for him. At third school Huangshi, some students are still arriving and passing through its open gates. Our hero approaches the academy alongside Feng Ru as they chat, but then the system gives him a mission to deal with the gangsters who came to cause trouble. This leaves him confused about the gangsters, who turn out to be the 2 men in suits up ahead, blocking the way to Guangshi's gate. Feng Ru asks what Fat Dragon and Morning are doing there. Our hero asks if he knows them, and he replies that they're well-known gangsters in that area. Dong Zi assumes they're there for him and knows he's no match for the 2, so it's best to avoid them. Someone shouts, asking what they're doing, and demands they move aside. The 2 men tell Zhou Exixin to go with them, clearly with bad intentions. Feng Ru points at the situation and asks what they should do. Our hero says they need to act, but his friend suggests calling the police instead of provoking the 2. Our hero says they don't have time to wait for the police, and with that raises a brick and slams the brick down on the bald gangster's head. After that, he tells them to take their filthy hands off her. Morning asks how he dares attack them, while Fat Dragon complains about the pain, having been caught off guard. Zhao Exixin is surprised to see Dong Zi there and tells him to run because he's no match for those 2. With that knowledge, the 2 gangsters get excited. Morning says they're there because of him, and that he'd better not even think about escaping. Angrily, he asks how Dong Zi dares make them come looking for him as he prepares to punch our hero. Dong Zi dodges the attack, certain now that they're after him because of the Rune Beast eggs, and that if he hadn't invested points in agility, he never would have avoided it. But now he can even counterattack, and quickly slams the brick into the gangster's face, who feels the hit and wonders if our hero is a natural rune master, and how he can even remain in the Huangshi area if he can't take down a mere brat. Fat Dragon says to Zhou Exixin that Dong Zi really cares about her, and asks if, when she's captured, he'll surrender easily. But the young girl lands a heavy kick to the bald gangster's face, who again cries out in pain, while our hero asks if he really thought she'd be easy to deal with. That makes him tell her to finish them off. The 2 gangsters get irritated and say they were being nice, but since no one appreciates it, they'll show no more mercy. Both activate their rank F Rune Master powers. Our hero charges in for another attack as Fat Dragon says that even if they are the weakest Rune Masters, they're more than enough to handle him. Dong Zi's punch hits the bald gangster, but a barrier protects him. That makes him realize his attacks can't even touch the big guy's body, which is bad. But at that moment, a club comes down and hits both men on the head. They turn, angry, asking who dares to attack them from behind. Zhao Wudai, a rank E Rune Master and Zhou Exixin's father, says they're not fit to be Rune Masters if they're attacking the weak instead of protecting the place. After that, the bell rings, marking the start of classes. The students walk through the corridors toward their classrooms. The teacher slams a book on the desk, complaining that he's already explained that question several times, and yet many students still got it wrong. He asks Dong Zi to stand and questions if he can explain what attributes rune stones have. Our hero stands and explains that rune stones are obtained from rune beasts and act as conductors for rune energy, and they can be divided into 3 types. The red-colored ones are weapon stones, which can be integrated into weapons, and when energy is injected into them, the rune activates and transforms into a weapon. The blue ones are known as talisman stones, which can have specific patterns that can be injected into weapons to activate runic abilities. And the green ones are similar to the red ones, but function as armor and gear, and they can only rely on one type of runic stone, their most powerful weapons. The teacher says that, as expected, only Dong Zi is studious. He knows our hero is intelligent, but his runic energy is too low, otherwise he would be a powerful runic master. In the end, he says the next class will be a virtual self-study session. The students thank him for the lesson. One of the boys says the important thing is the runic spirit exam, making his friend reply that not everyone is like him, and another says he can easily get into the academy. Thinking highly of himself, the boy says that if they follow him, once he becomes a runic master, he won't forget them. Feng Ru says that with that guy's abilities, he'll be devoured in 3 days. Dong Zi adds that the boy won't even go into the wild. They'll probably just work safely in the city. Zhao Xixin says only the brave become runic masters, and he can't be a coward hiding in the city. That makes the boy ask if she's calling him a coward. She responds that it's obviously him, and if he doesn't like it, they can fight to settle it. But the boy says who would fight a demoness like her. Zhao Xixin glares at him, annoyed, and tells him that if he doesn't have the courage to fight, then he better disappear. Already at the classroom door, the boy says that one day he'll make those 3 pay for this. Dong Zi asks what he even did. Feng Ru celebrates, saying that only she can make them flee like that. She says the strong shouldn't fall because of the weak, and she hates cowards like him. Dong Zi says the teacher mentioned they can study on their own using the simulator, and asks if Zhao Xixin wants to go against him, to which she immediately agrees. Feng Ru tells them to go ahead and fight, saying he's just a mortal and will only watch. The 3 connect to the virtual simulation capsules, and the young swordsman says they'll meet on the other side. In the virtual training area, Feng Ru asks if the girl isn't drawing too much attention, and she replies that Dong Zi is a sniper who knows how to hide, and that place is vast, and that because of that they won't be able to find him, so they'll have to fish him out. The boy asks how they're going to do that and where the bait is, but as expected, he's the bait. Right at that moment, a shot is fired and passes within millimeters of Feng Ru's face. He begs for mercy but realizes that our hero missed the shot. Zhao Xixin says that was a message for the boy to stay out of the way and just watch. She activates her runic weapon, saying she embedded 2 talisman stones into it, and asks Dong Zi if he thinks he can defeat her today. Our hero, from atop a tree, observes everything, and he quickly fires at the girl, who senses the attack and activates the runic stone ability, Quick Dodge, allowing her to swiftly evade the shot. At that moment, she looks up and says she's found him. Dong Zi is surprised to see that he's actually been discovered. Zhao Xixin activates another runic ability, Wide Angle Slash, which cuts the tree in half with a single strike, forcing our hero to leap out of his hiding place. He quickly activates his ability, Insta-Aim, and fires at the girl, who's caught off guard and is instantly eliminated without a chance to defend herself. Feng Ru says Dong Zi is incredible, but our hero remarks that he can only beat her in the virtual world. In the real one, he'd be easily crushed by her. When they exit the capsules, Dong Zi notices Zhao Xixin is having problems and calls out to her to wake up. As soon as he pulls her out of the machine, Feng Ru says he's going to call the teacher and the school medic. Our hero lays her on the ground and turns to a boy, asking what they were doing and if they were trying to kill her. The boys are shocked, while the guilty one is speechless, until he finally says that she's still alive and that she's bossy just because she has more runic spirit, and that her father's a cripple. One of them adds that they don't fear her since they have the support of the guilty boy's parents. At that moment, our hero steps in to punch him while shouting that the boy is trash and that his parents should be ashamed of having raised a son like him. Dong Zi lands a clean hit right in the guy's face, sending him to the ground. The young man asks how he dares hit him, but our hero says that today he's going to beat him until he learns a lesson. The doctor arrives alongside the teacher, who tells Dong Zi to stop. Our hero realizes that the most important thing now is to save Zhao Xixin, and that he can deal with that trash later. He tells the guy he got lucky this time and orders them to get lost. The young man says he'll make Dong Zi regret being born. After the examination, the doctor says that Zhao Xixin is fine, and that she was mildly electrocuted by the virtual capsule, but she'll be okay after some rest. The teacher says nothing can happen to her, the best student in the academy. After that, he turns to Dong Zi and asks what was going on and why he was hitting other students. Feng Ru says they poured water on the capsule and that if he hadn't acted, it could have been worse. The teacher is relieved but tells him he's gotten himself into trouble, which leaves him confused. Fang Ji's parents are rank E rune masters and are well known in that area, and since he hit their son, they won't let it slide. Feng Ru points that out. The teacher says those two don't mess around and tells him to go home, let things settle, and focus on studying for the entrance exam. Our hero thanks him. Fang Ru, as the ambulance takes Zhao Xixin to the hospital, tells Dong Zi not to worry because the doctor said she'll be fine in a few days. Our hero starts to walk away, telling his friend not to worry, that he's going to become a rune master and use his fists to talk to Fang Ji's parents. But Fang Ru tells him his rune spirit is too low, and that makes Dong Zi ask him not to kill the mood. In the end, our hero tells his friend everything's fine and that he should go to class. The two say their goodbyes and say they'll see each other later. However, Dong Zi knows that with this system, his rune spirit won't be that low anymore, and he will definitely become a rune master. Morning says that just like Lu Lei said, that's the bike of that kid, which means he lives there. He asks Jiao Wai Wang if they should call in more reinforcements, but the smuggler slaps him across the face and asks how many men he thinks it takes to deal with a little crippled girl. Morning apologizes, saying he was wrong. The trio heads up to Dong Zi's apartment, and the two lackeys try to listen through the door to see if anyone else is home. Fat Dragon says there's no movement inside, and that it's just the little girl in there. Jiao Wai Wang says that's good. The two ring the doorbell, which makes Bai Xiao wonder if her brother's already back home. She closes her book and says he has the key and wouldn't need to ring the bell. On the other side of the door, someone asks if there's anyone home. Bai Xiao asks who it is. Fat Dragon tells her to open the door because they're there to check the water meter, but the girl looks through the peephole and says the meter is outside. Morning complains to his friend that he was too aggressive, and that's why she figured it out. He tells the bald guy to watch and learn how it's done. He says they're there to make a delivery and asks her to open the door, but Bai Xiao says they can leave the package outside. Morning tries again, saying they're from the community club and want to meet her, but she says she's not interested and thanks them. This angers Jiao Wai Wang even more, and he literally kicks the door, breaking it down instantly, knocking our hero's sister to the ground as he says he's stuck with useless subordinates who couldn't even kick down a door. The mobster asks the girl for her name. She replies Bai Xiao, and that makes him curious why she doesn't have the same last name as her brother. She says she's adopted. Fat Dragon says he couldn't find the merchandise anywhere. Jiao Wai Wang pulls out a knife and tells the girl that last night her brother took something that belongs to him, and threatens her by placing the blade on her cheek, saying that if she tells him where the item is, they'll leave. Bai Xiao starts crying and says she doesn't know anything. The mobster says he knows her brother won't be home for another hour, and that they'll have plenty of time to play with her. Jiao Wai Wang notices the plushie on the floor and stabs the toy, shocking Bai Xiao. With that, he says now she knows what will happen if she doesn't, but he's interrupted by someone calling him a bastard. Jiao Wai Wang turns, curious at such defiance, and finds our hero telling him to step away from his sister. Our hero repeats that they should leave his sister alone, since he's the one they want. Bai Xiao calls out to her brother while the two henchmen confirm that he's Dong Zi. The mobster asks if he's the student who ruined his plans, and still pointing the knife at the little girl, Jiao Wai Wang tells him to hand over the goods or his little sister will pay the price. Our hero knows he needs to act carefully or Bai Xiao will be in danger, and it's better to hand over the egg. With that, he says the items are in the storage room. The mobster asks where that is, and Dong Zi says it's just there next to the bedroom. Jiao Wai Wang looks to the side and notices a small door behind some boxes, wondering if those two idiots didn't check there earlier. Irritated, he asks what they're waiting for and orders the henchmen to get the goods. Both rush to the door. With a kick, Fat Dragon breaks the door and finds the box on top of a table. He brings it to Jiao Wai Wang, saying they found the goods. The mobster opens the box and asks why there are only 2 eggs inside. Our hero reveals that one of them hatched during the delivery, but Jiao Wai Wang gets angry and asks if he thinks he's an idiot. That monster was rank C, and if it really had hatched, Dong Zi wouldn't be standing there alive. Dong Zi knows that even if he says he defeated the monster, the mobster definitely won't believe him. Jiao Wai Wang reveals that the egg was a gift for the minister, and he'd better return the monster ore. He brings the knife close to Bai Xiaoxi's face and finishes by saying our hero won't like what he's about to do. The little girl quickly bites Jiao Wai Wang's hand, making him drop the knife. Furious, he shouts that she dared bite him and prepares to punch the small girl. He throws a powerful punch, but our hero manages to rescue her just in time. Jiao Wai Wang is surprised by Dong Zi's speed and orders Fat Dragon and Morning to capture him. That makes the bald one try to grab our hero, telling him to just give up already. But Dong Zi quickly dodges with a backflip. Fat Dragon wonders when his reaction time got so fast, since he was just a rookie this morning. Our hero realizes that the development potion he got from the daily mission boosted all of his stats by 1 and improved his combatability. But in reality, his runic spirit also jumped from a mere 27% to 71%. Fat Dragon starts throwing several punches at Dong Zi, who dodges each of them with ease. After leveling up, our hero put all his points into agility, and even if he's no match for an F-rank runic master, he'll have no problem dodging attacks. The bald lackey, already exhausted, complains to Dong Zi that all he does is dodge and tells his boss he needs a 5-minute break, promising he'll catch him afterward. Zhou Wai Wang says enough. He'll handle our hero himself as he activates a weapon rune. The rune transforms into a runic revolver. The mobster tells Dong Zi that since he loves dodging so much, he should try dodging this. Our hero is surprised to see that Zhou Wai Wang is a runic master, and judging by his aura, he's at least rank E, like Zhou Xishan's father. Dong Zi says the egg really did hatch, and there's no way he could magically produce another one. The mobster replies that they were important, and the monster's offspring creates other runic monsters. They were hard to obtain, and they were the key to his future, and our hero ruined everything, which is unforgivable. Dong Zi says he thought breeding monsters in the city was a major crime, but Zhou Wai Wang asks if a student really knows how things work. Bai Xiao notices one of the eggs cracking, and that makes her call for her brother, saying she has something to tell him. Our hero asks her to stay quiet for a few moments, which makes the little girl cry, saying it's important, but the mobster points his gun and says she's annoying. At that moment, a creature bursts out of the egg at high speed, leaving Zhou Wai Wang surprised to see that another egg has just hatched. Dark-scaled viper, a rank C rune monster, and even though it was just born, it's much stronger than an adult rank E monster. Without thinking twice, the mobster opens fire on the creature, but the bullets do nothing but anger it. The serpent lunges at Zhou Wai Wang, attacking him. However, he manages to dodge in time, making it crash into the floor. Zhou Wai Wang grows tense since the house is too small, and he can't use his full power in there. Dong Zi turns to his sister and tells her they need to get out of there, and she agrees. Our hero knows that both hatched rune monsters are rank C, and he was lucky to defeat the bone-piercing spider yesterday, but he's not sure he can beat this one. The creature moves into the escape route of the sibling duo. That makes Dong Zi ask why the creature is coming after them, and that he needs to lure the monster away, but he can't abandon Bai Xiao. Suddenly, the rune beast begins to tremble, and our hero finds it strange and asks what's going on, but then a hand channels mana and points it at the creature. Our hero is stunned and asks if his sister is controlling the creature, and if she's a beast tamer. A genius born with 100% rune spirit, 1 in thousands, capable of communicating with rune beasts, taming them, and fighting alongside them. The rune serpent hisses nervously, and Dong Zi says the weak spot is the rune on its forehead, but he doesn't have a weapon right now. Our hero asks his sister to make the monster attack the bad guys. She responds that she'll try. Zhou Wai Wang says that the dark-scaled viper is not easy to handle, and for that reason, they'll leave first and let the brats deal with the problem. The two goons agree to the idea. Bai Xiao concentrates with difficulty to tame the monster that stares at her more intensely. The rune beast opens its mouth, revealing an electric ore. Zhou Wai Wang says that's the serpent's ability, which can even pierce through steel plates, and that those two kids are done for. But the creature suddenly turns, hissing with the ability fully charged and ready to fire. The mobster is caught off guard by the monster's sudden action. It fires the rune energy like a bolt straight at him, but he manages to dodge just in time. The blast hits the apartment wall, causing a powerful explosion that destroys a large part of the building, shocking the people out on the street. Dong Zi cheers, saying his sister did it. However, Bai Xiao feels weak and ends up fainting, drained of energy. That leaves her brother stunned, but he understands she's just a child, and controlling a rank C monster is incredibly exhausting for her, and he hopes she didn't get hurt. Zhou Wai Wang curses, asking what just happened and angrily questioning how that creature dared to ruin his hair and damage his beautiful face. Furious, he fires repeatedly at the rune beast, causing no damage, until one of the bullets hits the rune stone on the monster's forehead. Dong Zi sees it, knowing that stone is the monster's energy source, and once it's destroyed, they're not far from dying, which is why they protect their runes so fiercely. The rune monster collapses, and the mobster says it's a waste after all the work he went through to get the eggs, and that he'll make our hero pay for it. At that moment, someone asks if the two siblings are okay. Zhou Wai Wang turns around and asks who's there. Zhao Wudi appears at the door and asks what's going on there. That makes the smuggler deactivate the red rune, while the patriarch of the Zhao family asks what he's doing there. Zhou Wai Wang says he's only there to check on the kids and show care and concern, but Fat Dragon asks if they're not there to retrieve the merchandise. The mobster quickly punches his underling and tells him to shut up. Zhou Wai Wang wonders why Zhao Wudi is there, and even with an injured leg, he's still a retired soldier who trained many people and has great influence in the area. The ex-soldier warns that Dong Zi is under his protection and that if Jiawai Wang dares cause trouble for the boy, he'll have to face the Zhao Martial Academy as well. Smiling, the gangster says they're there to check on the siblings and tells Fat Dragon to give our hero an allowance, but the henchman says he has nothing to give. Jiawai Wang asks if he didn't pay his salary a few days ago, but the henchman says that was money he worked hard for, and is told to shut up and hand it over. Fat Dragon hands over his salary to Dong Zi, and then sulks over losing his hard-earned money. The trio starts to leave, but the gangster tells our hero that next time they visit, he better be home, not just his little sister. Dong Zi wonders if that guy is threatening him. Zhao Wudi asks if Bai Xiaoxai is okay, and is told she's just tired. Our hero decides to hide the fact that his sister is a beast tamer. The ex-soldier notices the body of the dark-scaled viper and asks what's going on there. Dong Zi believes it won't be a problem to tell him about the egg, so he begins explaining everything to Zhao Wude. The runic master says that Zhou Wenlong is not a simple man. He knows powerful people and manages the local underground boxing arena. That will be a problem. At the Zhao Shi Martial Hall, some people are practicing boxing, one man in the ring, another punching a sandbag, and our hero looks at a different kind of machine. Dong Zi takes a deep breath, focusing on his training. He opens his eyes and throws a punch that startles the boxer beside him. Seeing that he can now deliver a blow 5 times his body weight in force, even surpassing a professional boxer. At that moment, Dong Zi's phone rings. His teacher asks what he's been doing. Our hero replies that he was doing physical training. The instructor mentions the incident with Fang Ji and says the school has made a decision, asking Dong Zi to come by, to which he replies he'll be there soon. Our hero knows the entrance exam is in 18 days and hopes everything turns out fine. But before leaving, Zhao Wudin notices that Dong Zi used the machine to test his punch strength and asks how strong he is now. Our hero says he has to go and tells him to check for himself. The ex-soldier doesn't understand why he's being so rude, but a young man calls his attention, addressing him as Uncle Zhao and asking him to take a look. The display shows a value close to 500 in weight, leaving Zhao Wude stunned to see that Dong Zi has surpassed the limit of the human body, and that it's incredible considering he supposedly has only 27% runic spirit, though the ex-soldier doesn't know the truth or the changes our hero has undergone. Inside the school, in the academic affairs office, our hero opens the door, apologizing for being late, and notices several people waiting for him, Fang Ji and his parents glaring at Dong Zi. The teacher asks our hero to sit so they can talk, but he says it's okay, and that he wants to return to class after settling the matter. But the school principal says he's afraid that won't be possible. Dong Zi asks what he means by that, and is told that the school has zero tolerance for violence against other students, and so they've decided to expel him. Our hero says that Fang Ji was the one who tried to hurt another student, and asks why he's the one being expelled. The principal shouts that that's nonsense, saying Fang Ji is an elite student of the school and Dong Zi is just trash with 27% runic spirit. Fang Ji says he told him he'd make him pay. His mother says this was the right choice. Dong Zi asks if they're shifting the blame just because of his low spiritual value. The teacher asks him to calm down and says he can't provoke people at that level, and even if he doesn't care about himself, he has to think about his sister. Our hero knows what the instructor said is true. He already put her in danger once and can't let anything happen to her again. With that, Dong Zi turns and says he understands and will leave right now. Fang Ji comments that our hero was confident before, but now he's giving up so easily. And as expected, he's trash. Dong Zi turns around and says he will definitely become a runic master. That leaves the boy tense and speechless. Fang Ji's father says that our hero is just an arrogant brat who overestimates himself, and that even if his rune spirit weren't so low, just by having been expelled, he won't be allowed to participate in the awakening ceremony, and therefore will never become a rune master. Dong Zi replies that they'll see about that. Outside the school, our hero walks, seeing 2 kids playing Rune Master and Rune Beast. He knows Fang Ji's father is right. Now that he's been expelled, he can't join the awakening ceremony, and because of that, he can't become a rune master, and anyone who wants to awaken needs the help of the awakening crystal. However, it requires a lot of energy to be activated, and there's a rule that 15 days before the exam, the guild will activate the crystal so that everyone can awaken. Someone calls out to our hero, and he turns to see who it is. Zhao Xishan and Feng Rui ask him to wait and walk more slowly. Dong Zi asks if they shouldn't be in class right now. The young girl says that after waiting 3 days, she didn't expect that result, while the boy says they know Fang Ji is using his parents to bully others. Zhao Xishan grabs our hero's wrist and asks him to follow her to the martial hall. She starts pulling him, saying that her father will handle it. The news surprises Zhao Wude, while his daughter says it's all her fault and that he needs to find a way for Dong Zi to return to school. But he says that's impossible. Still, he explains that this doesn't mean Dong Zi has no chance of awakening and becoming a rune master, which surprises our hero, who asks if it's true. Only those with the proper value can become rune masters, but that doesn't mean everyone will succeed, which is why many have that value, but few manage to do it. Our hero says that's what his teacher told him, and that it's just the awakening threshold, and the higher the rune spirit value, the better the chances. Awakening consumes a lot of energy each time it's done, and if someone fails, no matter how high their rune spirit is, the guild doesn't give second chances. Feng Ru is surprised by this and wonders if he might be in danger. Zhao Xixin asks how he doesn't know that, and whether he's paying attention in class. Zhao Wudi asks them to listen. Every year many people fail, but not everyone accepts defeat easily, especially those above the base value. They try other methods. Dongzi asks what other method that would be. The ex-soldier asks if they've ever heard about the awakening medicine. That information shocks the three youths. However, that kind of medicine is no longer recognized by the association, and even those with 0 rune spirit have a chance to awaken, but it's extremely dangerous. Zhao Wudi continues, using the medicine is like using the awakening crystal, and the higher your rune spirit, the better your chances and the stronger the rune ability you might awaken. He looks at our hero and says that as far as he remembers, Dongzi has a very low value, and his chance of success is going to be extremely low. Once someone uses the medicine, there are only 2 outcomes. Either they fail and their veins burst, resulting in death, or they succeed and become a rune master. Zhao Wudi tells Dongzi that he needs to think carefully and asks him if he really wants to risk everything. Zhao Xixin asks our hero to give up, saying it's too risky, and Feng Ru says there's nothing wrong with being a normal person. He might not have status, but at least he'd be alive. Our hero declares with determination that he doesn't want to be a normal human, and that he'd rather not live than not become a rune master. Zhao Wudi wasn't going to bring it up, but because of Dongzi's strength, he believes it would be a waste not to help him, so he says he used the egg in exchange for a chance. That surprises our hero, while Feng Ru asks what egg they're talking about. Dongzi asks if it's okay to use the egg. He's told that it's fine, as long as they know how and where, and so he asks what the other chance to awaken is. Zhao Wudi says the Ash Gang discovered a dungeon that may contain the treasure of a powerful rune master, and only normal people can enter, so they're recruiting. The ex-soldier hands over a book, saying that any normal person can pay to enter the dungeon, and the first to get the treasure will earn the awakening medicine. The cover of the thin book reads Introduction to Dungeons. Zhao Wudi says there are many people trying to change their lives, but there's only one bottle of the medicine, and whether Dongzi gets it or not depends entirely on him. Zhao Xixin says the place is far too dangerous, filled with runic beasts, and our hero might lose his life. Feng Rui asks him to reconsider. The ex-soldier scolds both of them, saying he hasn't finished speaking yet. He says he has an old comrade who was the leader of a small mercenary group that hunts runic beasts, and that Dongzi could join them to gain combat experience. Our hero knows that fighting monsters and surviving in the wilderness while risking his life to awaken will be incredibly hard. But none of that matters. If he doesn't become a runic master, he'll remain at the bottom of society, bullied by people like Fang Ji. Dongzi replies that even if it costs him his life, he will take the risk and survive to become a master of runes. Zhao Wudi responds that that's good. The ex-soldier puts a hand on our hero's shoulder, saying he likes his determination, then pulls him and tells him to follow him to the city gates, which makes Zhao Xixin curious. Zhao Wudi says he'll introduce our hero to Poison Wolf, someone she fears. The girl grows uneasy while Feng Ru is shocked that someone actually manages to scare her. At the outskirts of the big city, our hero asks why they're waiting there if they're supposed to meet the leader, Poison Wolf. He's told that he'll find out soon enough. An alarm blares loudly, catching the attention of the workers nearby. They shout to open outer gate number 1, and that everyone should stay alert to prevent anything from entering the city. Dongzi wonders why everyone is suddenly panicking. He stands up, asking if it's a runic beast attack on the gate, but Zhao Wudi says that's clearly not it. People yell that the Blood Wolf mercenary team has returned. Everyone is amazed at the captured creature, a rank D marble bull, saying that team was lucky, and even though they're rank E, they managed to hunt that down. Our hero is shocked to see a monster like that, realizing it's nothing like the ones used in simulations. Even the smell of its body is terrifying. Zhao Wudi asks if he's scared. Dongzi says he's excited, which makes the ex-soldier say it's time to meet his old friend. At that moment, a medic yells that it's an emergency and asks everyone to make way. Our hero sees a wounded hunter screaming in pain on a stretcher, and asks if it was caused by a runic beast. Zhao Wudi says the reward and danger are equally high, and tells him the mercenary group is just up ahead. The ex-soldier shouts toward an incoming aircraft, asking if Poison Wolf is still alive. He replies, shouting back that Zhao Wudi shouldn't worry, he's living a great life. The door opens, revealing Poison Wolf and his team, and he asks why his old friend is there, if he came to give him a free ride. A white-haired man, a professional rank E runic swordsman. Another warrior appears with the nickname Big Bull, a rank E runic tank. Also present are Mountain Tiger, a rank E runic swordsman, and Fire Fox, a woman who is a rank E runic sniper. Further back, sitting in the aircraft, is Skinny Monkey, a rank E runic sniper. Zhao Wood says he's there to ask a favor, but Poison Wolf says he should buy him a drink first, and that they've been gone for a month and should eat before anything else. The ex-soldier says they'll drink later and asks if he shouldn't be taking care of the wounded group member first. Firefox says that's normal for mercenaries and that he's going to retire. She's jealous. Blood Wolf agrees, saying the man's still alive. Zhao Wood nods in agreement. The ex-soldier asks if Bald Eagle was their scout and sniper, and since he's injured, maybe they need someone in that role. That leads him to say he has the perfect replacement right there, and that he's recommending him. Our hero greets everyone with a smile. Poison Wolf asks if the boy isn't even a runic master yet, and says they don't take just anyone into the group. Hunting runic beasts is no joke. Skinny Monkey says their leader is right, and that the Blood Wolf group doesn't accept random trash. A group hunts a giant serpent, showing that mercenary groups of rune masters hunt monsters for a living. They are brave, fearless, and very strong. After defeating the creature, the rune is removed from its forehead. While they celebrate the victory, they know that with great benefits and rewards, danger is always close by. At that moment, a leader is betrayed and executed. Out there is no law, and anything can happen. Rune beasts aren't the only danger. Humans must also be feared. Poison Wolf says that Dongzi wouldn't survive a few days out there, but he replies that he knows, yet he needs this, which makes the mercenary curious. Our hero says he knows there's a chance he might lose his life in the wilds, but he would rather perish than not become a rune master. Firefox says that's a joke and that Dongzi saw what happened to Bald Eagle, and maybe he won't be so lucky, and once it starts, there will be no turning back. Zhao Wudi asks his friend to give him a chance. Poison Wolf says it's not that simple, lives are at stake, and asks if Zhao really wants him to watch the boy die. The two step aside, and the ex-military man says he sees Dongzi as family. That makes the mercenary leader ask why he's encouraging him with such nonsense. Zhao Wude reveals that our hero was expelled from school because he hit the son of a rune master to save Zhao Xixin. Poison Wolf understands that this means he won't be able to participate in the awakening ceremony, and asks how much rune spirit Dongzi has. The ex-soldier reveals it's a low value, 27%. That makes the mercenary ask if they're kidding, and if he still wants to be a rune master. But Zhao Wudi tells him not to judge so quickly, and even if his rune spirit is low, his punch force is 462 kilos. That information makes Blood Wolf curious, since that's beyond normal human level and close to the weaker end of rank F. He thinks Dongzi is a strange guy. Zhao Wudi says he doesn't know why, but he has a feeling that our hero will definitely become a unique master, and maybe even one of the most powerful. Blood Wolf agrees to give Dongzi a chance, in exchange for Zhao's 30-year-old Mao Te, which annoys the ex-military man, who agrees, but only after they return from the next incursion. The mercenary calls our hero, and says he'll let him join because of Zhao Wude, and that he better get ready and come back in 3 days so they can head out into the wilds. Firefox asks if Poison Wolf is really serious about taking the kid outside. Mountain Tiger says Dongzi will get scared and wet his pants. Our hero knows this is his only chance to enter the wilds and gain real experience, and he decides to make the most of it. 3 days later, at the Awakening Ceremony Plaza, many people are gathered, and a man says that this year's ceremony is about to begin. He calls the next person Feng Ru, who approaches the crystal nervously. As he touches it, a yellowish glow appears from his hand, leaving him surprised. The organizer announces that the awakening was successful, and even though the resonance was weak, it was enough for Feng Ru to become a rune master. The boy celebrates excitedly and says it's Sister Kink's turn. Zhao Xixin is upset not to see Dongzi or her father there on the most important day of her life. She wonders if, by now, our hero is already outside the city, and hopes he'll be careful and return safely. Zhao Xixin touches the crystal, causing a phenomenon of color and light to burst forth, leaving the organizers surprised, who say that's exactly what they expected from someone with nearly 100% rune spirit, and that she has a powerful resonance with the crystal. The lights swirl around Zhao Xixin's body, while Feng Ru celebrates, saying she's amazing. The boys are all captivated by her beauty, except for Feng Ji, who appears irritated. An organizer calls him up right afterward, and his parents tell him to show everything he's got and say he will certainly become a rune master too. Feng Ji, fearful, places his hand on the crystal, and as he touches it, nothing happens. This makes his parents tense. The boy wonders why there's no reaction, but the organizer announces that he failed to awaken. This leaves Feng Ji shocked and lost. He kneels on the ground, not believing what just happened, while his parents run to him. Feng Ji's father begs the organizer to give his son another chance, but is told that it would go against the rules. Feng Ru laughs, saying it's a shame Dongzi isn't there to see the scene. The boy gets furious and asks how he dares to mock him. But the young man with glasses says that he's a runic master now and isn't afraid of him. Fang Ji's father says he needs to become a runic master or it will be a disgrace for them. The boy replies that he failed his awakening. His father says there's still another way to awaken and that it'll help him become master of runes. His wife grows tense and asks about this method, hoping it's not what she's thinking. He replies, the awakening drug, and that no matter what, he has to help their son get it. At the city gate, the Blood Wolf Group's aircraft is waiting. Our hero arrives and says, reporting in. His name is Dong Zi, he's 18 years old, and his profession is runic sniper. He asks them to take good care of him. Several aircrafts exit through the city gate. Poison Wolf gives the order for everyone to depart, saying that it's time to head for the Wildlands, where there are no rules. Our hero looks out the window, thinking he thought he was ready, but suddenly leaving the safety of the city makes him anxious. He knows today is the day of the ceremony, and that Feng Ru and Zhou Xixian have surely already become runic masters. He left Bag Xiao Xi in Zhao Wu's care. That way, Zhou Wen Wang won't be able to hurt her, and the wilderness is very different from the city, with hidden dangers everywhere. On the aircraft, a boy asks if Tang Yin is thirsty or hungry, and if she applied sunscreen, but she ignores him. Dong Zi knows the mission was chosen because it's easy, for his sake. Even so, it's still an important mission. Professor Xiao is from the destroyed Warzone region, a respected researcher of runic beasts. Lin Hao is the professor's student, an annoying and spoiled guy, while Tang Yin is quiet and seems to be a runic master. Xiao will investigate the migration problem of a runic beast. The mercenaries will protect him, and meanwhile, Dong Zi plans to challenge the dungeon near the site. Lin Hao keeps talking to the girl, saying he's been to wild zones before, and that they aren't as scary as the rumors say. There are just a few big monsters nearby. But he gets scared when a runic bird of prey attacks the aircraft's window. Immediately, several shots are fired at the creature, making the boy even more frightened. From a smaller ship, a mercenary asks if Lin Hao wasn't the one who said he wasn't afraid of runic beasts. He complains, saying he was just caught off guard. Red Fox knows the mission will be difficult, protecting 3 scholars and a rookie, since only the ignorant have no fear. She notices our hero calmly watching everything from the window, while Lin Hao asks what kind of crazy place this is. That makes Red Fox find it interesting. Professor Xiao says the red-tailed gull is the target of this investigation. The student says it's huge and asks if that's still considered a kingfisher. He explains that after mutations, the world changed, and any creature that mutates becomes a runic beast, and they are extremely dangerous, so extra caution is needed. Lin Hao says he'll protect Tang Qin, but she says she doesn't need it, while the professor complains that he only accepted him because his parents fund his research. Xiao asks which of them knows the characteristics and habits of the red-tailed gull. The girl says they are rank F, live in groups, and among them there might be a rank E leader who is very strong and hard to deal with. And even though they become runic beasts, they still maintain bird-like habits and will migrate according to season and climate. Professor Xiao says she's correct and that the area has low temperatures, so the monsters shouldn't be migrating there. But many have appeared, and they'll investigate. And even though the creatures live in groups, there will sometimes be isolated ones that become aggressive when encountered, so caution is necessary. Dong Zi says that even being rank F, one alone isn't scary. Its weak point is the neck, and they like shiny things. If you use something to attract their attention, it's easy to take them down. Tang Qin is surprised to see that our hero seems to know more than she does. Xia gets excited and asks if he learned that for the mission and if he's a newly awakened student. Dong Zi says he remembered it from the books, while Lin Ho gets annoyed because of that. Our hero, a bit embarrassed, replies that he hasn't awakened yet. The irritated young man turns and asks if that's true, and why he's even following them. Dong Zi says not to worry, because he's not going to cause trouble. But Lin Hao says he's just a normal human and will be dead weight for them. Red Fox tells them to stop arguing and says our hero is a rookie in the mercenary group, and even if he's weak, he's better than you, Bookworm. The boy gets even more annoyed, but the teacher puts a hand on his shoulder and says that's enough, that this is Poison Wolf's squad business and doesn't concern them. A voice comes through the ship's radio, saying the destination is Ancient Tree Forest, and unless there are accidents, they'll return early, but there will be a lot to do once they get there. Red Fox replies through the mic that she understood. Dong Zi thanks her for earlier. She replies that he doesn't need to thank her, since he's part of the team, so of course she's going to help him. Our hero realizes that at least she doesn't hate him, and that whether or not he can become a rune master will depend on this mission. Later that night, in a forest camp, people are eating. Big Bull compliments Dong Zi, saying he's not bad at all and quite skilled. Our hero thanks him. Lin Hao, calling him rookie, asks about their tent. Red Fox tosses a bag at him and says if he wants a tent, he should pitch one himself. That makes him ask why. After all, they're paying. Skinny Monkey replies that they're paying for protection and the rest isn't their job. Lin Ho gets irritated and says he can pitch his own tent. It's not that hard. But 20 minutes later, the guy clearly struggles. He complains about the stupid tent and says it's so hot, he might as well sleep outside. Lin Hao asks about food and whether they at least cook it. Big Bull replies there's canned food in the backpack. The boy quickly asks what exactly they eat when a silhouette appears in the sky. A wild boar crashes to the ground next to him, scaring him. Poison Wolf says they're going to eat that. Mountain Tiger says he'll let our hero handle the boar. Dongzi knows it's an F-rank monster, a curved tusk wild boar, and that its hide is tough for regular weapons to pierce, just as expected from Poison Wolf. Red Fox calls our hero and tosses him a weapon, saying it's for him to use to butcher the boar. She says it's a rune dagger, weak, but enough for the job. Dongzi says it's his first time touching a rune weapon, but he doesn't have rune energy to use it. The mercenary tells him it's a storage weapon and she's already filled it with energy. It'll stay charged for a whole day, and it'll be his weapon for the next few days. Our hero thanks her for the rune dagger. Poison Wolf says that tonight he and Dongzi will be on watch, and everyone else can rest. The other mercenaries confirm the orders. Inside one of the tents, Tang Yan reads a book. Lin Hao snores while sleeping outside. Poison Wolf asks our hero if he can climb up there. Our hero replies yes, and makes a single leap, managing to reach the tree branch, surprising the mercenary leader. Poison Wolf comments that Zhao Wudi said Dongzi has a low rune spirit, but punch strength close to 500 kilos. Our hero confirms it. That makes the mercenary leader laugh, saying he really is an eccentric guy, but he likes those types. Poison Wolf says he promised to take him to the dungeon, but in his current state he won't survive. Dongzi asks if even with his strength, it would really be that bad. The mercenary replies that he's not saying our hero is weak, but actually, he kicks Dongzi in the chest, knocking him out of the tree. After that, Poison Wolf jumps down and lands on the ground, and finishes by saying that the problem is the way our hero thinks. The mercenary explains that no matter how strong or skilled you are in the wilds, it's necessary to stay alert at all times, watch out for rune beasts, and more importantly, for humans. Those participating in the dungeon challenge are in an all-or-nothing mindset, and among them, there will be people who surpass our hero in various aspects. However, there is only one awakening remedy, and if Dongzi wants to take it from the hands of others, then he needs to be prepared for anything. Our hero replies that he understands that, but he needs that medicine even if he has to risk his life for it. Poison Wolf says he doesn't like teaching rookies, but he appreciates his determination, so he will guide him, but everything will depend solely on Dongzi. In the end, he tells our hero to follow him. Red Fox yawns as she complains about being asked to stand guard while they went into the forest. The duelist slowly creeps through the tall grass, and the mercenary says it's there. A curved tusk wild boar, rank F, with tough hide and sharp curved tusks. Poison Wolf says that one is just like the one they took down earlier, and it's not an adult, making it perfect for training. Dongzi asks if he's sure since he hasn't awakened yet, but the mercenary kicks our hero out of hiding and tells him to go and find out for himself, and that if he can't defeat the creature, then he should pack his things and go home tomorrow. This makes the boar notice Dongzi and turn to face him. The rune beast lets out a loud roar and charges our hero, who draws his dagger, knowing this isn't the first creature he's faced, and that he must stay calm. The boar keeps charging rapidly as Dongzi assumes a combat stance. He dodges the attack at the last second, already aware that the difference between an adult and a juvenile is significant, and this one is more troublesome than the juvenile bone-piercing spider. Poison Wolf says reality is nothing like the school simulations, and if he's not careful, he'll lose his life, and he only has one chance. The monster turns after the failed charge. It roars again and charges once more at our hero, who jumps just before being hit and quickly strikes the creature with the dagger, landing a direct hit. However, Dongzi is caught off guard as the still-alive boar starts running, carrying him along even with the dagger stuck in its body. Poison Wolf yells, asking if our hero didn't dissect a wild boar earlier, and tells him to use his brain and think about where the animal's weak spot is. Dongzi realizes the mercenary is right and remembers that he just dissected a monster exactly like that. Our hero follows the weapon, knowing that even with the rune dagger it was very difficult to pierce the hide, except at the neck, which he targets, triggering a system prompt with a daily mission. Dongzi must defeat 10 rank F monsters to earn a spiritual potion and a rune weapon, but it won't be easy, and he nearly lost his life to the boar. Poison Wolf congratulates him and says that rank F monsters are tough but beatable, and that it's best to avoid rank E ones. Our hero replies that he was lucky the enemy was inexperienced. The mercenary throws a red rune to our hero, saying that's his loot. Rune masters extract pure energy from them to grow, and those with more spiritual energy grow faster, so it's good to be prepared and collect them. Dongzi thanks him for that. A new day dawns in the forest, and the birds sing. A rune beast collapses lifeless at our hero's feet. Our hero only managed to defeat 5 monsters throughout the entire night, and those Poison Wolf had were highly skilled in combat, so it took a long time to defeat them. However, he knows that because of this, his battle experience has grown significantly. The mercenary tosses a water bottle to Dongzi, telling him to rest for a while. Our hero asks if there's another mission, but is told there isn't, and that he can sleep, for they'll train again at night. Still, he questions if it's really okay to do nothing. Poison Wolf responds that it's fine since he won't be much help anyway. Dongzi knows that if he defeats a few more enemies for one more night, he'll soon complete the mission. The mercenary starts heading back and says it's time to return. Back at the camp, Red Fox is cooking something to eat while Tank Yin returns to his own tent. Something catches the young girl's attention. Poison Wolf and Dongzi return, which makes the mercenary ask where they had been all night. The leader replies they were training and tells the boy to wash up and rest. Tang Yin notices something in our hero's backpack, rune stones, that makes her wonder if he hunted the creatures himself, and if he's not just a regular human. Lin Hao wakes up asking if it's already morning and says to let him sleep a little longer. Inside his own tent, our hero throws the rune stones on the ground. He looks at them, knowing that since he hasn't awakened yet, he can't absorb their energy, which can be used to craft weapons and defensive items. Slowly, he reaches out toward one of the runes, and at that moment the system asks if he wants to absorb the rune's energy. That confuses him, since he didn't know the system could help with that. Dongzi chooses to accept the help, and in that moment, the rune energy bursts forth. It flows into his body rapidly, giving him enough experience to level up. Our hero discovers that even though he isn't a rune master, he can use the system to absorb the energy from rune stones and boost his skills. And now that he has leveled up, he feels fully recovered from the exhaustion of last night's hunt. Dongzi also notices that all his stats had increased, especially his strength and agility, which have grown more than before. He still has 15 points left to distribute, and remembers that last time he put everything into strength and agility, which left his body struggling during the hunt. So this time, our hero decides to put 10 points in physique, 3 in wisdom, and 2 in strength. A breeze blows through the forest, and Dongzi realizes that every attribute matters, and ever since he raised his wisdom, his senses have sharpened. That gives him more confidence for the dungeon challenge tonight, and for completing the mission to level up one more time. Night falls, and Red Fox asks how our hero did in training. Poison Wolf responds that his skill is amazing and his growth rate is very high. The mercenary comments that it's rare for him to give compliments, but the leader replies that the boy is very interesting and tells her to get some rest. She answers that she's not tired. However, Poison Wolf says he has a very important mission for her. Red Fox asks what it is and is told that she'll be helping with Dongzi's training tonight. She remains silent about it, but our hero says he's ready and asks when they'll begin. The mercenary replies that this time, Red Fox will be the one assisting him, which surprises Dongzi. Our hero finds himself in someone's sights as Poison Wolf asks if he's scared, and if so, he should go to bed, because he doesn't want to train rookies like him. Mountain Tiger laughs and tells Red Fox that he remembers Dongzi is the type of man she likes. That makes the meat in his hand a target, and it gets blasted apart by a shot. The mercenary, still aiming at him, asks if he's tired of living. That makes our hero realize that even if she seems friendly, her personality is cold and explosive. Poison Wolf says that Red Fox is a rune sniper, and she'll teach him how to hide, something that will save his life in the dungeon challenge. Dongzi agrees, knowing it's better to hide and strike at the right time than fight dangerous opponents head-on. The mercenary descends from the tree and approaches. Our hero thanks her for the help, saying he's counting on her. Red Fox tells him to stop wasting time and follow her. Dongzi replies with an excited yes. Tang Yin asks the professor if she can go with them. He replies that it's the jungle and very dangerous, so it's better to stay at the camp. But she points out that he's going even though he isn't a rune master either, and questions why she should be afraid. Professor Xeo explains that her identity is different from our hero's. Red Fox says that tonight they'll play hide and seek, and Dongzi has 3 lives. But since she already caught him twice, once in the tree and once hiding in the water, he only has 1 life left. If our hero can stay hidden from her for 10 minutes, he'll pass the test, but if he's caught again, he'll have to return to the city and give up the dungeon challenge. The place goes quiet, and Red Fox starts the countdown, knowing that Dongzi hides very well, but she wants to see if he truly deserves Poison Wolf's praise. At that moment, something catches her attention. She immediately turns and fires into the bushes, but is caught off guard. It was just a rabbit, which makes her wonder if he's not actually there. The tree leaves rustle, and Red Fox quickly notices and fires at the spot. Only a blue snake falls from the place. With 1 minute left, the mercenary continues searching for Dongzi, realizing that he's also not nearby. She wonders if our hero secretly returned to camp, since she already checked all possible hiding places and couldn't find him. The mercenary notices there are only 30 seconds left. That makes her say it looks like she'll have to break the rules. Red Fox activates her rune skill, Snake Eye, and aims at a bush. Her vision shifts to black and white spectrum, and soon becomes heat vision, finally allowing her to spot Dong Zi. The mercenary says that the safest place is sometimes the most dangerous, and that he used the rabbits to force her out of that area, which is why she couldn't find him. Our hero realizes that he's in Red Fox's sights. She says she can't believe he won't move even with a weapon pointed at him, but Dong Zi knows he absolutely must not move. The seconds pass, and the two keep testing each other's patience. When time finally runs out, Red Fox says he wasn't bad at all, and that he passed the test. She admits she broke the rules and used an ability, which means she lost, and that he managed to stay calm in that situation, which means he has potential to become a rune sniper. Our hero asks if she'll now teach him how to become a true sniper as promised. Red Fox says that even though he's good at hiding, this is the era of rune masters, and new abilities are constantly emerging. If someone has a detection skill, he'll be found. A talented sniper means to be calm, observant, anticipate every situation, and predict the opponent's tricks. Only then can one remain truly hidden. She hands him a visor. Dong Zi takes the item and puts it on his face, asking what it is. Red Fox says it's goggles used by snipers and scouts that can display various types of data, analyze rune beasts, and show their basic information. Our hero tests it on the nearby rabbit and understands that with this equipment, he'll be able to hunt monsters safely. Dong Zi thanks her for it, but the mercenary warns him not to get too excited. Training has only just begun. Still excited, our hero says he won't let her down. A new day dawns and our hero greets everyone. Mountain Tiger is startled and asks what happened to him. Our hero is worn out, but replies that he was finishing training with Red Fox. Big Bull, concerned, says he looks awful and asks if he wants help getting to bed. Dong Zi replies that he doesn't need help, but ends up fainting face first onto the ground. Poison Wolf says the dungeon challenge is tonight and wonders if he'll manage in that condition. Red Fox tells him not to worry, he recovers quickly when he sleeps. Our hero only defeated 3 monsters the previous night, and even though he didn't complete the mission, he at least obtained rune stones and can now improve his skills again. The rune beasts that Red Fox chose were much stronger than the ones Poison Wolf selected, which makes him wonder if the energy in those runes will also be greater. Either way, he'll only know once he absorbs the runes. Dong Zi knows he's heading to the dungeon tonight, and that his safety is the top priority, so he puts all his points into wisdom and agility. Our hero feels that ever since he leveled up, his fatigue has vanished, but even so, he decides to sleep to rest his mind and relieve mental stress. At night, the camp is calm. Tang Yin feels energy fluctuations from Dong Zi's tent. She wonders if she's mistaken, and Professor Xiao asks her to hand him today's recorded data. He asks if she heard him and repeats the request for the data. The girl hands it over without noticing she's passing him a burning stick, while the researcher thanks her. Xiao grabs the stick by the burning end and screams in surprise, burning his hand, which also startles Tang Yin. Worried, she apologizes to the professor, who blows on his hand to cool the burn. Our hero steps out of the tent, saying it's time for him to go. Dong Zi knows that thanks to the training from Poison Wolf and Red Fox, his stealth and combat skills have improved greatly, and he needs to win the dungeon challenge. Tang Yin finds our hero odd and wonders if he's gotten stronger. Skinny Monkey tells Dong Zi to get on the ship for a ride. Lin Hao asks where the two of them are going. The mercenary says they're going to scout the area, but the young man questions the timing and says he has a lot of experience in the wild. They can't fool him. Our hero surprises Lin Hao with a jump that lands him on the ship, and once on board, he thanks for the ride. Skinny Monkey replies not to worry and to hold on tight. The spoiled boy complains, telling them to wait and come back. Poison Wolf wishes that Dong Zi returns safely, and Red Fox says that if he manages to become a rune master, he'll be an incredible one. This makes the mercenary leader comment that he thought she didn't like our hero, and he asks if she really thinks that highly of him. The mercenary responds that first, he has to come back alive. If he doesn't, then what she thinks doesn't matter. Meanwhile, Lin Hao picks a flower and calls out to Tang Yin, telling her to look at what he found. But not seeing her, the boy asks the professor where she is. Sir replies that he thinks she's probably sleeping now. That leaves Lin Hao disappointed. During the trip, Skinny Monkey says there should be a backpack somewhere packed by Zhao Wood, and that it contains everything needed to survive in the wild. Our hero finds the backpack behind the mercenary's seat. Dong Zi knows he has no way to thank him enough for introducing him to the Blood Wolves, and that if it weren't for that, he'd still be a knave student who would have died in the dungeon. Skinny Monkey says he'll wait outside, and that Dong Zi must make sure to come back alive no matter what. Dong Zi thanks him and says that if he doesn't return, he should thank him for everything and ask Zhao Wu to look after Bai Xiao. The mercenary tells him not to get emotional and to stay calm. Our hero agrees, no matter how much he's trained, he needs to stay calm and be ready for anything. A noise on the ship catches Dong Zi's attention and he looks back. Tang Yin appears, asking where they're going and saying it looks fun, and asks to go with them. This startles Dong Zi and surprises Skinny Monkey. Our hero asks where she came from. The girl replies that she knew he was going somewhere and followed them. He asks why she would do something like that. The mercenary says there's no time to take her back, so they'll have to bring her along, but she broke the rules, and if anything happens to her, he won't be responsible. Tang Yin says not to underestimate her and reveals that she's a rank F rune master. Dongzi notices they're the same age, but she awakened early, and some families have power and influence, and their members awaken sooner, and that people like that live completely different lives from ordinary people like him. The girl asks again where they're going. With no other choice, our hero tells her everything. Tang Yin is stunned when she hears about the dungeon challenge and the awakening medicine. Dongzi says that something rich people like her, who live in ivory towers, have never stepped foot in. Tang Yin replies that she's rich and beautiful too, but that's not the point, and he says that either way, he needs it, and it's going to be dangerous. She understands that our hero is risking everything to become a rune master, something that came easily to her, but that he has to fight with everything he has just to get a chance to awaken. Tang Yin asks why he wants so badly to become a rune master. Dongzi says he could say it's because he wants to be strong, hold his head high, and be admired. Our hero looks up at the moon in the sky and says that honestly, he just wants to be able to protect the people he loves. The girl watches him and reaches out her hand, saying she believes in him and that he'll definitely come back and become a rune master. Dongzi thanks her and shakes her hand. At that moment, the trio arrives at the marked location. A man asks for the pass to enter. Our hero hands over the pass. As soon as they look at Dongzi's file, the men start laughing, saying he's just another piece of trash looking for his own death. Tang Yin gets angry and asks what they just said, but the two mercenaries aren't intimidated and mock her. Skinny Monkey says that this is the wild, and if she offends the wrong people here, she might end up dead. The man throws the pass back to our hero, saying he can go in. With that, the trio moves forward until they come across a strange energy portal, the entrance to the dungeon. Tang Yin comments that this is the entrance. She looks to the side and asks how they're keeping it suppressed. Skinny Monkey says it looks like the tomb of a powerful rune master, and the dungeon used to block the monsters before its end. Dongzi asks why they're allowed to enter. The mercenary replies that there could be many reasons, and the Ash Gang has probably already investigated everything, so he shouldn't worry about that. He should focus on making it out alive. Someone asks if that isn't Dongzi, catching our hero's attention. Fang Ji, surrounded by warriors, says he never expected to find trash like him here. Our hero asks what he's doing there and remembers the awakening ceremony from a few days ago, but the boy tells him to shut up, saying he doesn't know anything. Dongzi laughs, realizing that Fang Ji failed to awaken, which means he's also trashed. The boy gets furious and again tells him to shut up and not compare him to someone like him. Fang Ji says his parents hired experienced bodyguards for him, so once he enters the dungeon, all he has to do is wait. Unlike a bothersome piece of trash like Dongzi, he says Dongzi better pray they don't meet inside, because out there it's the wilds, and even if he kills him, no one will care. The boy declares that there is only one awakening potion, and it belongs to him. Dongzi is just a stepping stone on his path to becoming a rune master. Skinny Monkey asks who this arrogant brat is, and if they should take him out. Our hero answers, yeah, why not? Fang Ji desperately calls for his parents. His mother asks who dares to bully her son, while his father comments that it's the school trash they saw last time. Dongzi asks if Skinny Monkey can still take him out, but the mercenary goes silent. Fang Ji's father asks if he's not part of the Poison Wolf group and warns that he has deep connections in Qingxi district, and if he dares touch his son. Laughing, the mercenary says he was just joking. Skinny Monkey reveals that the man works for the minister and they can't interfere, but Dongzi says it's fine. Inside the dungeon, their power means nothing. At that moment, someone shouts for them to move aside, rushing past our hero and Fang Ji's father and firing a shot into the air. That's Yu Jin, rank D, leader of the Ash Gang, who grabs everyone's attention and says he doesn't care about identity or power. This is his territory. There's only one bottle of the awakening potion, and if they want it, they better follow his instructions. Skinny Monkey warns that Yu Jin is a maniac and really isn't someone they want to mess with. Tang Yin asks why and what that guy has done. The Ash Gang lives in the wilds raiding trade convoys. The Qingxi police tried to eliminate them, but since they know the terrain, the police hunted them for 3 months and still failed. After that, their leader blew up 10 expensive patrol buses in retaliation and sent several rune beast claws to the minister as a warning. Dongzi agrees that he's insane. Fang Ji points at Yu Jin and asks why his father doesn't arrest him now and force him to hand over the awakening potion. His father quickly covers his mouth and tells him to be quiet, warning that man is rank D, and even he isn't a match for the gang leader. Yu Jin fires a warning shot, saying he heard something interesting, but that he's generous and will let it slide this time. Next time, though, he'll hang his body for the monsters. After that, he says the rules are pretty simple. Inside the dungeon, there's a primal forest filled with many rank F rune beasts. They need to reach the deserted death god palace in the center. Inside, there's a statue of the god of death, and at its feet is a large chest. Whoever brings it back will receive the awakening potion, but they only have this one night. Once the sun rises, the place will automatically shut down for 3 months, and if they don't make it out, they'll become food inside. Tang Yin knows that regular people will struggle even against weaker rank F monsters, which means this challenge will be extremely dangerous for Dong Zi. On the other hand, Fang Ji begins crying in his mother's arms, saying he doesn't want to go in there, but she tells him that if he wants to become a rune master, he has to. Skinny Monkey says he's sure Dong Zi will come back in one piece. He wishes him luck and says he'll be waiting there for him. Dong Zi thanks him. Tang Yin hands something to our hero, who asks what it is. She explains that it's an armband with an emergency airbag. Once activated, it will inflate and form an air cushion to protect him from any fall. Skinny Monkey comments that it's expensive and single use, typical of a rich and beautiful girl, quite extravagant, but she says she just doesn't want Dong Zi to die so easily. Yu Jin tells everyone to stop wasting time because the dungeon is about to open. Fang Ji is dragged by the bodyguards while kicking and screaming that he doesn't want to go, which leaves his mother embarrassed. Dong Zi thanks her for the armband and says that if he comes back alive, he'll repay the favor. Tang Yin wonders what he means by repay the favor and thinks our hero is a strange guy, but wishes for his safe return. Inside the dungeon, the place doesn't look much different from the outside. Our hero moves quickly, noticing that everyone appeared in random spots around the perimeter, and that the target is exactly in the center of the area. A scream of terror echoes through the primeval forest. Dong Zi wonders if they're already hunting each other so quickly and decides to get out of there, doing his best to avoid fighting the other participants. In another part of the dungeon, someone screams for help. Our hero watches from a tree branch above and wonders if someone is really calling for help. Dong Zi spots the woman stuck in the mud. She asks if anyone is there and pleads for someone to help her. Our hero knows the place is full of dangers and that he needs to be cautious, but it's a human life, and he wonders if he should really just stand by and watch her die. A woman runs up, telling her to hang in there. She reaches out her hand and tells the woman in distress to grab it. She's thanked for her help, but then that person laughs and suddenly pulls the girl into the mud, catching her by surprise. The woman falls into the mud and asks how she could do such a thing. At that moment, 2 men appear. One of them says she's way too naive and that this is what she gets for trusting others so easily, while the other says she was just unlucky and that he's going to take her gear. The one who had called for help points a weapon at the woman, saying that in the jungle, sympathy and kindness will only get you killed, and she should remember that next time. Then she fires 2 shots, scaring the nearby birds. Our hero witnesses everything and becomes furious at the despicable methods being used to eliminate competitors. The thinner man senses something and turns around. He shouts, asking who's there and demanding they show themselves. Dong Zi is surprised and wonders how they discovered him. The 2 men start running through the forest. Chasing our hero, they yell that he can't run and that he should just become their prey. One of them says this challenge is extremely fun and thrilling. Dong Zi wonders if these people kill others just for fun, but notices that this group is slower, so he should be able to escape. A shot is fired and grazes the side of our hero's face. The woman asks if he can run faster than a bullet. That makes Dong Zi realize that while guns are banned inside the city, outside the law always finds a way. With no escape, our hero dives into a bush to hide, while the outlaw says he won't be able to stay hidden for long. One of the bandits says he must be hiding somewhere nearby and tells everyone to split up and search the area, not letting him get away. The other 2 agree. One of the bushes rustles, drawing the woman's attention. She quickly fires her gun at the spot, saying she found our hero and that this is his end. But Dong Zi surprises her by jumping down from a tree behind her. He places the rune dagger to her neck, startling and confusing her. Our hero says that even if she has a gun, it's useless if she can't aim at him, and with his speed, she'll never get that chance. Right away, Dong Zi commands everyone to drop their weapons or he'll kill her on the spot. The woman pleads for mercy, saying she only did this to survive and become a rune master. One of the men says he didn't expect the kid to turn the tables, but the other bandit says that if our hero thinks he can threaten them, then he's very naive. 2 gunshots are fired, shocking Dong Zi. He hadn't expected such brutality from those 2, shooting down and killing their own ally. The outlaw says they were only using her as bait to catch the other competitors, and since there's only 1 awakening potion, they were going to get rid of her anyway. Dong Zi realizes that man didn't hesitate to kill the woman. It was as if he were just crushing ants, and that this is the real world, the world of rune masters, cruel and ruthless, completely different from life in the city. The bandit says our hero is actually strong and asks if he wants to join them. Dong Zi understands that if he wants to stay alive, protect his sister, and become a rune master, he needs to abandon his ideals, stop being naive, and dirty his own hands. The man gets impatient and calls out to our hero, who stares back at him seriously. In that moment, Dong Zi lands a low kick to the bandit's legs, knocking him to the ground. The second outlaw points his weapon and calls our hero stupid, saying they gave him a chance, but since he wants to lose his life. However, before he can finish speaking, a shot is fired. The man trembles, not understanding what happened, but it's clear he was hit in the chest. Dong Zi eliminated the outlaw without a second thought. He looks at the executed woman beside him and decides he won't let people like them get in his way. The last enemy opens fire on our hero, shouting for him to disappear. Dong Zi quickly dodges the shots, which hit a tree right behind him. He throws himself to the side, flanking the bandit, who becomes confused by our hero's speed, to which he replies that he's too slow. After taking out the man, Dong Zi understands that Poison Wolf was right. Humans are more dangerous. If he were a normal person, he'd be dead. It's better to get out of there fast. That makes our hero resolute in finding the chest and leaving the place alive no matter what happens. Meanwhile, Fang Ji follows the bodyguards through the forest. Someone screams for help, which surprises the young man, and he looks back. One of the bodyguards asks if they should check it out, thinking someone was attacked by a monster, but the leader says to ignore it because they're competitors too. Fang Ji agrees and says they just need to protect him. The head bodyguard assures him nothing will happen to him. The group continues on until the boy notices something up ahead. A man stumbles out of the bushes, fleeing and screaming for them to save him, saying that thing is terrifying. Shaking in fear, he says he'll give them as much money as they want if they help him. Fang Ji tells him to get lost and go bother someone else. The man begs for help and says he'll pay for it, but a massive wolf is right behind him. He's devoured by the creature, terrifying the young man. That monster is a dark shadow wolf, rank F. The group leader says it's a young adult and tells the bald guy to handle it. He replies that it won't be a problem. The creature is still hungry and wants them too. Fang Ji says they should run, since it's a rune beast and they're not rune masters, but the bodyguard replies that he shouldn't underestimate them, and that they're different from him. They grew up in the wild and fight rune beasts every day just to survive. The bodyguard engages the beast, clearly holding the upper hand after inflicting multiple injuries on the enemy. Fang Ji is in disbelief and says they're strong. Another man says that's what they were hired for, and even though they're not masters, they can still defeat rank F monsters. In the end, the warrior with the eye patch defeats the wolf and picks up its rune, saying that even though it's a low-rank rune, it's enough to celebrate for a few days. Excited, Fang Ji says he wants the group to do something for him. The head bodyguard says he was only paid to protect him, and if he wants anything else, but the boy doesn't even wait and says he has plenty of money. That makes the group leader ask what the young man wants them to do. Fang Ji says that if they find Dong Zi in the dungeon, they're to eliminate him. In front of the portal that leads into the dungeon, people wait. Tang Yin wonders what the situation is like inside that place. Skinny Monkey comments that she seems to care a lot about Dong Zi, but the girl says she just thinks he's different from the others and is a bit curious. The mercenary agrees that our hero is different and that his combat ability is beyond normal, but Tang Yin says the competitors aren't weak either. Skinny Monkey says it's more than that. As he looks at Fang Ji's parents, he's not worried about the rune beasts in the dungeon, but about the other competitors. Tang Yin knows that 3 hours have passed and that our hero must have reached the Death God's palace. Dong Zi finally arrives in front of the abandoned palace. He realizes he seems to be the first to get there, and that was thanks to the hiding technique Red Fox taught him. It helped him evade both rune beasts and people, allowing him to arrive so quickly. Dong Zi senses something and quickly jumps back, managing to dodge an attack. After dodging, he notices a sword stuck in the ground. The bodyguard leader comments that our hero's reaction speed is impressive. Dong Zi wonders if they're Fang Ji's protectors. The young man says they just arrived there and didn't expect him to get there so fast too. Our hero asks what he wants. Fang Ji replies that it's to fulfill the promise of eliminating trash. Dong Zi now understands that the guy hates never being able to surpass him, and in the end, he asks if he's sure he wants to face him. Fang Ji tells our hero to shut up and says he promised he'd make him regret ever challenging him. With that, the young man orders his bodyguards to execute Dong Zi, and all the warriors charge into battle. The leader of the group attacks with a powerful punch, but our hero dodges quickly. The ground cracks from the blow, and Dong Zi realizes he has to be careful. These enemies have already reached the peak of normal human combat ability. A blade approaches our hero's back, but he senses it in time and dodges the strike, landing a kick on the enemy's leg. This surprises the group leader, who comments that his speed is terrifying, almost equal to a rank F rune master. One of the henchmen asks if he took something. Fang Ji shouts, asking what they're doing, and tells them to take him down. He's just a normal human. A tongue suddenly lashes out and grabs one of the bodyguards by surprise. He cries for help as a red striped toad, rank F, reveals itself. The creature devours him on the spot, making the bald warrior scream for him, and the group leaders say he didn't expect another rune beast to be there. Fang Ji tells them to forget that and go inside the palace. The chest inside is the main objective. The head bodyguard looks at our hero and pulls something out from one of his utility pouches. He says it's for him and throws something at Dong Zi that explodes on impact with his body. The group leader says it's a powder made from the female of that monster species, and it'll make him the creature's priority target. They all flee into the palace, and one of the bodyguards says that no matter how strong he is, he won't stand a chance against that beast and won't be alive much longer. Fang Ji says the awakening medicine will be his, and tells our hero to fight hard not to become food for the red-striped toad. Dong Zi complains that they always lived in the wild, which is why they have these weird things with strange effects. The monster attacks again with its tongue, but our hero jumps and fires at the creature, knowing he must eliminate it and reach the chest quickly. The bullets have no effect, and Dong Zi expected that normal ammo wouldn't be effective, but he knows he can win. The monster's weak spot is its belly, and he's had a similar experience hunting boars. The creature's tongue hits the weapon in his hand, disarming him. Our hero climbs a tall branch, aware that this is still going to be very difficult to deal with. However, he realizes that red-striped toads can't distinguish scent. They use vision to hunt and are sensitive to movement, which gives Dong Zi an idea. Our hero throws his jacket far away, telling the monster to look at the piece of clothing. The creature quickly attacks the jacket, exposing its belly. Dong Zi knows this is his chance, and he quickly strikes the rune beast's weak point, executing it just as the system notifies him that only one more monster remains to complete the mission. Our hero feels relieved and believes that having read more books was truly a good decision. He puts his jacket back on and moves toward the palace, vowing to settle the score with Fang Ji. The door to the place slowly opens. The group of bodyguards enters the main hall along with Fang Ji, who becomes excited, saying that now that our hero has lost his life, all he has to do is take that thing out and become a rune master. The masked warrior says he's feeling something strange in there, but the group leader tells him to be quiet and stop saying unnecessary things. The bald bodyguard says he's going to grab the chest, but at that moment, someone tells them to stop. Our hero enters the place and declares that it belongs to him. Fang Ji is in disbelief and asks how he's still alive. The leader of the bodyguards wonders if he really defeated the red-striped toad, which should be impossible. Fang Ji says he didn't expect Dong Zi to escape from the monster and comments that he's an idiot for coming there, like he wants to die. The boy orders the warriors to get rid of our hero and make sure he doesn't escape again. Right then, the entire place starts to shake, sending dust and small stones falling from the ceiling. The boy is stunned and asks what's happening. The statue cracks and crashes to the ground, leaving everyone shocked. A reptilian paw emerges from the rubble. A horned leopard lizard, rank F, appears. Dong Zi tenses up, knowing that this is one of the strongest monsters in rank F and is close to becoming rank E. Our hero notices the creature is injured and wonders if it fought the red-striped toad over territory. Fang Ji asks what they should do now. The group leader realizes the Ash gang didn't send their own members because of this and are using them as cannon fodder. The head bodyguard says their only choice is to attack and hope they make it out alive in the end. The rune beast spots the warriors and quickly repels them, grabbing one of the humans. Dong Zi believes the monster must be enraged after being wounded. The captured bodyguard screams as he's dragged toward the creature's mouth, begging not to be eaten. He pleads for help from his first brother, but the group leader only calls out to him, unable to do anything. Frustrated, the mercenary leader pulls out an item while cursing the beast. He pulls the pin from a hand grenade and throws it at the monster, injuring its head with an explosion. Fang Ji cheers and tells him to throw more, but they reply that they don't have any more grenades. That enrages the rune beast even more, and with a leap, it chases after the two bodyguards who start to flee. But both are crushed by the monster's reptilian paws. Fang Ji pleads for his mother and father to save him. Dong Zi tells him to stop screaming and run, or he'll be the next one to die. The boy says they studied together for years and begs our hero to save him, but he replies that he should stop crying. He's in danger too. He tells him to climb that rock for now. Fang Ji says he can't climb and begs to be saved. Dong Zi looks back and grabs the boy. Our hero tells him he's useless, and that if he doesn't want to be eaten, he'd better try harder, but the boy is so scared he's nearly wetting his pants. Both are now on top of the rock, and Fang Ji says they're going to die and asks Dong Zi to come up with a plan. Our hero says he only has 3 grenades, and they might not be effective against the rune beast. The monster roars, and Dong Zi says it doesn't matter since he has no other choice, then throws the explosives, which land inside the creature's mouth. After that, an explosion occurs and Fang Ji asks if the thing is dead, but Dong Zi says he's not sure. The rune beast paw rises again, making the boy scream in fear that it's still alive. The monster slams into the rock and then falls silent. Our hero says with a tone of doubt that it's been eliminated. Fang Ji asks if he's sure about that. Dong Zi approaches and picks up the creature's runestone, saying that even if it were alive, it lost its runestone and won't live much longer. The system confirms the kill and says that our hero has completed the mission, earning its rewards. Dongzi feels confident now that he can drink the potion and level up, and most importantly, claim the chest that's right there. He's just one step away from becoming a rune master. Fang Ji thanks him for the help, but immediately betrays our hero by pushing him off the rock. The treacherous boy says that if it weren't for him, he would have died here like trash, but now he can become a rune master in his place. At that moment, Dongzi blames himself for once again underestimating human greed and their dark hearts. However, Fang Ji also underestimated him. Our hero decides to use what Tang Yin gave him. He presses the button on the armband, creating a huge red airbag that cushions the fall. Safe, Dongzi quickly drinks the potion he earned as a reward, which increases his level and enhances his rune spirit. Our hero decides to allocate all the points into the strength attribute, and he chooses to claim his random weapon now. He receives the rank E weapon, Death God's Gun, which can be reloaded, has 3 rune slots, and can use the user's rune energy or runes to fire energy blast. Fang Ji is shocked to see Dongzi alive and armed. He wonders how our hero survived and how he obtained that rune weapon. Since he's not a rune master, he questions if that's even possible. Dongzi aims and says that if he has any doubts, he should go ask Hades in hell. In the end, a shot is fired, scaring the birds in the forest. Fang Ji is hit by the blast. Eventually, he falls from the rock, screaming, and slams into the ground with full force. Our hero feels relieved that it's over, but the entire place is still dangerous, and he needs to grab the chest and get out of there. Dongzi approaches the chest as the system informs him that he has reached his human limit. This makes him realize that if he doesn't become a rune master, that will be his cap, but with the awakening medicine, he won't have to worry about that anymore. Our hero knows the road ahead will be difficult, but he won't give up. Outside the dungeon, gang members are drinking in celebration of the Ash Gang. Tang Yin says that dawn is approaching and asks why Dongzi still hasn't come out. Skinny Monkey tells her to wait a little longer. Fang Ji's mother is worried about her son, while the boy's father says he has the protection of 4 experienced bodyguards and is sure he's fine. At that moment, the dungeon entrance starts to act strangely, and someone comments that it means someone is finally about to come out. One of the gang members wonders who it might be and hopes they're bringing the chest. Fang Ji's parents tense up, as do Tang Yin and Skinny Monkey. A person finally steps through the portal. Dongzi appears, asking Boss Yu if that's the chest he wanted. Yujin remains silent, observing everything. People start expressing concern, saying their brother is still inside, another saying his friend needs saving, and someone else stating that the boy, our hero, is going to receive the awakening medicine. Skinny Monkey congratulates Dongzi, saying he's amazing and really pulled it off. Tang Yin, in her thoughts, is surprised that he truly survived and returned safely. But our hero is suddenly grabbed by the collar and asked where Fang Ji is. Dongzi decides not to tell the truth to avoid problems and says he doesn't know. He didn't see him. Fang Ji's mother accuses him of lying and of having eliminated her son. Our hero asks if she has any proof of that, which makes her fall silent in anger. Fang Ji's father threatens Dongzi, saying they hired 4 bodyguards and they would have reached the objective. But Dongzi is the one who brought back the chest, so they must have encountered each other. Our hero had thought that since no one saw him and the boy, he'd be safe. But now he believes he was once again too naive in his thinking. The boy's mother throws herself into her husband's arms, crying over their son's death, and that leads the father to declare that he's going to execute Dongzi right there. Yujin steps between them, asking if they really dare act arrogantly in the Ash Gang's territory, and demands to know if they asked for his permission. Fang Ji's father tells him to get out of the way. He wants to finish off our hero. Yujin replies that the boy has something he wants, and now also owes him a favor, so if they lay a finger on Dongzi, they won't make it out alive. Skinny Monkey says that the gang leader is crazy, but he keeps his promises, and our hero says that if they didn't keep their promises and rules, the gang wouldn't be this big. Fang Ji's father knows that Yujin is a serious problem to deal with, and that staying alive is more important now, but he's certainly going to find a chance to execute Dongzi before they return to the city. He accompanies his wife back into the ship. However, he warns that our hero will pay for what he did to Fang Ji. With that, the ship ascends into the sky. Dongzi says it was the boy who tried to eliminate him, so why is he being seen as the bad guy? Someone throws a bottle to our hero, leaving him confused about what it is. Yujin says it's the reward. Dongzi asks how he could throw something so important, and what if it had broken? The outlaw answers that if it had, then he wasn't destined to have it. The gang leader confirms our hero's name and says he'll remember him, and that if he ever decides he doesn't want to live in the city anymore, the Ash Gang will accept him anytime. Our hero asks if Yujin thinks he can't survive in the city, and Tang Yin asks about the protective armband she gave him. Dongzi replies that it was a huge help, and that if it hadn't been for it, he wouldn't have survived. The girl gets excited and asks him to tell her what happened inside the dungeon. Skinny Monkey interrupts the conversation and says that's not the place to talk about it. They should return to camp first. That makes our hero glance to the side, where many are eyeing his prize, clearly ready to try and steal the potion. Dongzi says he's right. and it's better they leave first. The group begins heading back toward the small ship. Skinny Monkey tells him to drink the potion now, just in case of an accident, and reminds him it will take time to take effect. Tang Yin agrees and says they can talk more later. Our hero agrees with what they said and knows that Fang Ji's parents are after him now, so he needs to become a rune master as quickly as possible to protect himself. Dongzi says he'll be in their care in case anything goes wrong. The girl tells him not to worry and says she's sure he'll be fine. Our hero looks at the bottle in his hand, knowing that once he drinks it, he'll either become a rune master or lose his life. But there's no reason to hesitate, and so he drinks the entire awakening potion. He needs to become a rune master. By morning, the ship is still en route. After finishing the awakening potion, the bottle falls to the deck of the ship, and Dongzi starts to feel ill. Tang Yin asks if he's okay. Skinny Monkey says to leave him alone, because the process after taking the potion is painful, and only after going through it will he become a rune master. The girl understands that even though it's so painful, our hero isn't saying a word. He's risking his life to gain something she got easily. That makes her wonder if he wants to become a rune master that badly. Our hero feels as if he's being boiled in scalding oil and buried in a frozen mountain at the same time. But he knows he must endure it if he wants to become a rune master, and he's determined to make it happen. Explosions occur near the ship. Tang Yin screams, asking what just happened. Skinny Monkey tells her to hold on and warns they're under attack. A ship pursues the trio, firing missiles at them. Fang Ji's father says he'll get revenge for his son. With that, he continues firing at the group ahead. Tang Yin says it's that same couple from before. Skinny Monkey curses, realizing they really do want to kill Dongzi. The girl asks what they can do now. The mercenary replies that they must not disturb our hero and need to try to escape first. He quickly descends the vehicle toward the forest and says their ship is small, so once they enter the forest, they should be able to get away. Fang Ji's mother asks if they really think they can escape so easily, and they quickly fire rune explosion missiles at the group. 2 bombs are launched and then explode just below in the forest. Tang Yin asks if they're insane. If they do that, it could cause a mass attack in the city. The mercenary complains that they can't hide there anymore. He quickly rises back into the sky, escaping possible attacks from rune beasts and the explosions. Fang Ji's father laughs, saying they can't escape anymore now. He quickly opens fire again on the small ship. Skinny Monkey keeps complaining about the situation while dodging the bullets. He says this has gone too far already and tells Tang Yin to switch seats with him and pilot the ship, which catches her by surprise. The mercenary asks if she knows how to fly it. The girl says she got her license 2 years ago, but has never actually flown one before. Skinny Monkey, in a hurry, says they don't have time to argue now and tells her to take the controls immediately. He gives her instructions to fly in a zigzag pattern. If she flies in a straight line, they'll be easy targets, and while she does that, he'll return fire. The girl replies, okay. The mercenary opens fire with a rifle at the enemy ship. The bullets hit the vehicle, but cause no damage. Fang Ji's father says that not even rank E monsters can damage the ship, and that a rank F rune master would do better to give up. Skinny Monkey throws 2 grenades, making Fang Ji's mother yell at her husband to be careful. The bombs explode, blinding them both. This causes her husband to activate voice-controlled autopilot. The couple's ship starts to turn around after that, prompting the mercenary to say that even if they are rank E, they were still defeated by his flash grenades. At that moment, the claws of a bird approach Skinny Monkey from behind, but Tang Yin shouts for him to watch out, making him duck and dodge the attack. He complains that the flash grenades must have attracted that red-tailed gull to them. The monster quickly damages one of the ship's engines. The vehicle's system displays a failure in the left engine, surprising Tang Yin. She quickly reports the issue and says she can't keep the ship stable, and that they're going to crash. She yells for everyone to brace for impact. The ship crashes into several branches, snapping them along the way, until finally it hits the ground and explodes. Fang Ji's father complains about his eyes and asks where that group went, but he notices something ahead that confuses him. The smoke from the explosion among the trees makes him laugh, saying they crashed into the forest. His wife says they should go take a look. Her husband comments that even God wants our hero gone, and today will be his end. The ship is completely destroyed on the forest floor. Skinny Monkey crawls out coughing and asks if Tang Yin is okay. She replies that she is. At that moment, Fang Ji's father approaches, saying they survived, but they shouldn't think they'll make it out alive. His wife asks where Dongzi is and says she'll take him down with her own hands. The mercenary becomes tense knowing the enemies are rank E. He's no match for the two of them, not to mention that Tang Yin is also there, and it'll be even harder if he has to protect her. A blade swings and nearly hits Fang Ji's father, who's caught off guard, but in fact he receives a cut to the face, leaving him confused. Tang Yin wields 2 pink swords, saying that since they can't run anymore, they'll have to fight them head-on. She reveals herself as a rank E rune swordswoman. Fang Ji's mother asks if that girl is also a rune master, and her husband replies that based on her aura, She seems to be rank E like them. Skinny Monkey asks if it's true and says that if so, he won't have to worry so much about her. The woman grips a spear and says that even if Tang Yin is rank E, she's just a spoiled girl with no combat experience, and it's still 2 against 1. After that, Fang Ji's mother attacks the girl, telling her to blame Dong Zi for her end. Tang Yin dodges the attack with a jump. Meanwhile, the boy's father charges at Skinny Monkey, saying that as soon as they deal with the 2 of them, our hero will be next. The mercenary opens fire with the rifle, saying the guy's too arrogant, and asks if he thinks that's a toy gun. But the mercenary is caught off guard. Fang Ji's father activates his armor and asks if Skinny Monkey really thinks a rank S attacks can damage a rank E armor. This leaves the mercenary stunned to see that rune armor, knowing he couldn't afford one even if he starved for 3 years. The wife of that man activates her own protective gear and says that poor and pathetic mercenaries can't compare to them. Skinny Monkey is surprised by this and knows he needs some distance to use his own weapon, but the woman chases him down, saying she wants to see how long he can keep running. The mercenary realizes that their job in the city must pay well enough to afford those armors, and decides that even if he gets into debt, he's going to buy one too. Tang Yin steps in front of Fang Ji's father and says she will be his opponent. He says she's quite brave, and since she wants to throw her life away, he'll grant her wish. The man activates his rune skill, Whirlwind Slash, knowing that this ability increases his power and attack speed, and that the inexperienced girl definitely can't dodge it. But Tang Yin sees it coming. Fang Ji's father's sword slips from his hand. He feels pain in his wrist and wonders what happened, only to realize the girl is wearing armor and also has a rune embedded in her gear. She activated the skill Rock Solid Stance. The man knows those armors are expensive for a typical rank E, and one with a slot is even more rare, which makes him wonder who she really is. Tang Yin launches a counterattack using the rune skill Sword Rain. The enemy notices the danger and tries to protect himself. He manages to defend, but is pushed back. This makes him realize the girl is stronger than expected. Tang Yin charges forward again for more attacks, but suddenly a grenade appears in front of her, catching her off guard. After the explosion, a strange cloud forms, and the enemy says that a real battle isn't just about using rune skills. The girl starts coughing from the strange powder released by the blast. At that moment, a weapon is fired and hits her directly in the arm, making Tang Yin drop her swords. Fang Ji's father says she's too naive to fight in the wild. The girl curses him for that. She knows that even though the armor protected her, her arm is paralyzed and she can't grip her sword with full strength. Her opponent continues saying that out here is nothing like the city, and this isn't a place for a spoiled rich girl like her. He realizes that once he eliminates her, everything she has will be his. Tang Yin says that she is also a rune master, and that her upbringing has nothing to do with this, to which the man replies that she can then die as a rune master. Skinny Monkey shouts her name, worried for her life. Fang Ji's father bids her farewell with a smile. The sound of a gunshot echoes through the area, and Tang Yin closes her eyes, expecting her end. But nothing happens, and she opens her eyes confused. That man has been shot in the arm, and he asks who did it and how. At that moment, a voice says, "Your fight is with me." Dong Zi has awakened and is now a rank F rune master. Tang Yin gets excited and asks if he really did it. Skinny Monkey asks where the kid got that rune rifle from. Our hero apologizes for dragging the 2 of them into his problems. That makes the mercenary laugh and tell him not to worry, that he's just glad he awakened. Fang Ji's mother says it's unforgivable, that it should have been her son who awakened and became a rune master. Her husband says that even if Dong Zi awakened, he's still just a rookie and it won't change the outcome of this battle. Our hero questions if that's really true, and says they'll see soon enough. After taking aim, he fires the weapon, managing to injure the enemy in the shoulder. He can't believe what just happened and asks how Dong Zi, a rank F, was able to pierce his rune armor. Our hero explains that the reason is because his weapon is rank E. This leaves Fang Ji's father in disbelief, and he demands to know how he got that weapon. Dong Zi says it's time to put an end to this fight, and that now he's the hunter here. The man's wife runs to help him, while her husband turns in desperation trying to flee. But our hero opens fire on him and quickly eliminates him with a well-placed shot, sending the man crashing to the ground. This time lifeless, with only a look of panic frozen on his face. That makes the woman scream in sorrow. She holds her husband and begs him to wake up. Skinny Monkey says this is what they call karma. Dong Zi approaches, saying he didn't want to execute anyone, but they forced him. The woman says he killed her son and her husband, calling him a demon. Tang Yin retorts, saying they were the ones who bullied our hero and hunted him down, and now they still blame him for everything. Dong Zi says there's no need to argue with her, they only care about gains and losses, not about what's right or wrong. That makes the girl say she hates rune masters like them. Skinny Monkey smiles, seeing that our hero is different. He just awakened and is already capable of eliminating rank E opponents, and that he's a natural-born sniper, and his weapon doesn't seem like an ordinary rune weapon. That makes the mercenary realize his own weapon is the weakest one. Fang Ji's mother, furious, says she won't let him rest even if she becomes a ghost. Skinny Monkey asks if she, even being rank E, really thinks she can escape the three of them. That makes her even more enraged. At that moment, an arrow with something attached to it lands on the ground. The three are startled by it, but then hear a beep. Dongzi shouts for them to run. A massive explosion occurs, throwing Skinny Monkey far away while our hero grabs Tang Yin to protect her. He lands on top of her, making her flustered. Tang Yin calls him stupid and says she's rank E and wearing rune armor, so the explosion wouldn't have harmed her. Our hero apologizes, saying he acted without thinking. After the blast, Fangji's mother is left coughing, and Skinny Monkey says he was careless and didn't expect anyone else to be there. People approach, saying they were blown far away and had to search for them for a long time. Tang Yin complains upon seeing it's the people from outside the dungeon. Dongzi comments that they must be there for his awakening medicine. The men ask where the medicine is and demand it be handed over. Another says that if they don't give it up, they shouldn't be blamed for what happens. Fangji's mother knows she can't deal with the three of them alone, but now she might have a chance. She quickly points at the group and says the awakening medicine is with them. That makes the men demand that Dongzi hand over the medicine, and another thug asks if he really thinks he can defeat them all. Tang Yin says they're no different from outlaws, and if they become rune masters, they'll just go after the weak. The mercenary says that in this world, only the strong and ruthless survive. Our hero says that it doesn't matter if it's the jungle or the city, the weak will always be suppressed. He apologizes for dragging Skinny Monkey into this mess, and says he'll buy them time so the other two can escape first. The mercenary questions that, but Tang Yin interrupts, saying she's not a coward who would abandon a friend just to escape. Fangji's mother says that's touching, but none of them will leave this place alive. The leader of the group tells everyone to attack. A loud engine sound echoes, making the man curious as he looks up. Two ships approach the area. Tang Yin cheers, saying it's the professor and the others. The Blood Wolf members jump from the ship and land directly in front of the enemies, facing them. Red Fox asks where those idiots came from and if they know who they're messing with. Dongzi says they showed up just in time, and she congratulates him for finally awakening. She looks at the group of men and asks if they all really want to lose their lives. The outlaw leader says she's arrogant and asks if she really thinks they can beat all of them there. Someone calls all of them stinking brats. Poison Wolf asks if they dare lay a hand on his team members. That catches the outlaw off guard, and he realizes they've run into someone dangerous. He doesn't want to provoke him, as they're famous and stronger than the city's rune masters. But one man asks what he's afraid of, since they have more people. The mercenary leader points his sword at the thugs and says he'll count to 5, and they better be gone from his sight. The thugs wait for a decision while their leader stares silently at one of them. Fangji's mother screams, saying she'll pay 1 million and a rune armor to whoever executes Dongzi. That stuns the bald bandit with the size of the reward, and his subordinate is in disbelief, asking who that woman even is. Our hero, Skinny Monkey, and Tang Yin are left speechless in that moment. In the end, he says he can still fight and wants to help them. Red Fox tells him to relax, that they don't need to do anything. Someone else is going to take care of them. The sound of engines echoes through the skies, catching Dongzi's attention. Several yellow ships appear in the sky. This surprises and confuses our hero, who wonders who they are. A weapon system locks onto 4 different targets from that group of bandits. The outlaw leader says they're being targeted, and his subordinate asks what's going on, and if those people came to start a war. Fangji's mother knows that system could easily blow up a rank A rune beast, and it's rare to find one of those in Qingshai. She wonders how so many showed up here. Tang Yin watches it all with a serious expression. Our hero gets excited and says he didn't know their team could call in so many warships, but she calls him silly. Poison Wolf asks if they still want to fight. The bandit leader says that with that many warships, they'll be executed instantly. That makes the head of the Blood Wolf gang confident, and he repeats that he's giving them 5 seconds to disappear. He begins the countdown, and all the enemies start fleeing the area. Fangji's mother threatens our hero, saying he better not return to the city, or she'll turn his life into a real nightmare. With that, she escapes in the ship, taking her deceased husband's body. Dongzi thanks Red Fox, saying it seems he owes her another favor, but she says it was all courtesy of Miss Tang. Our hero asks who she really is. At that moment, someone calls out for Tang Yin. Lin Hao says she had everyone worried. The girl apologizes to the professor for worrying him. Xiao says that after she disappeared, they called her father, and the boy finishes by saying he sent multiple warships to find her. Tang Yin gets irritated, saying she's a rune master and had 2 others with her, so nothing was going to happen, and that her father always exaggerates things. Lin Hao says this is different, and that you can't compare her life to theirs because she is. Before he can finish, the girl tells him to shut up. Our hero wonders if those warships were actually sent to rescue Tang Yin. He thought she was just from a rich family, but her identity is far more special. Poison Wolf calls out for Dongzi to come to him. He replies that he's coming. One of the ships approaches, and from it steps someone who calls for the young lady. Zhang Feng, a rank A rune master and rune swordsman, says she caused a lot of trouble this time. Tang Yin says she didn't and tries to explain. But the soldier says he understands she wants to experience the life of a rune master, but the wild is far too dangerous for her, and that it would be better if she graduated first. The girl says she knows that and asks him if he thinks she's okay. Jiang Feng lets out a tired sigh. He tells Professor Xiao that Tang Yin's situation has already reached Lord Tang, and he's very angry with him. Lin Hao asks if that's true. Xiao immediately says that it is his fault, and that as soon as they return to Yijing, he'll hand in his resignation letter. Tang Yin says the professor isn't to blame for anything, and that it was Shiwo. But Jiang Feng interrupts her, saying it doesn't matter. Someone needs to be held responsible, and he asks her how he's supposed to explain this to her father. Those words bring silence to everyone. The rune master asks if all those people were after Tang Yin, and that makes him want to know who their real target was. He orders Lin Hao to answer the question. The young man says he believes the target was Dong Zi. Jiang Feng looks at our hero with a doubtful expression and decides that he needs to speak with Dong Zi. Poison Wolf says he knew our hero wouldn't disappoint him and celebrates that he truly became a rune master. Mountain Tiger says he heard the awakening potion can also enhance the rune spirit and asks Dong Zi how much his spirit improved. That makes our hero realize he forgot to check his status window because he was too busy fighting. He opens his status screen to check his progress and is surprised and confused to see that his rune spirit is at 101%. Wondering what that even means. The system provides an explanation, and Dong Zi understands that his rune abilities are more powerful than normal. He wonders if doubling the value would make them even stronger. And since his spirit is above 100%, he can absorb rune energy much faster than geniuses who had exactly 100% rune spirit. This makes him realize that it means he went from being trash to someone better than the geniuses. Red Fox calls out to Dong Zi, who's lost in a dream world, and asks if he became stupid, and if that's a side effect of the awakening medicine. He finally snaps out of his daydream and apologizes, saying he's just not used to being a rune master yet. Poison Wolf says that the difference between a normal person and a rune master isn't that big in terms of compatibility, and now he has more responsibilities and duties. Our hero says he understands that, and that it's not just a noble title, but the final line of defense for humanity. That makes Jiang Feng say he's pretty sharp, but then he asks how strong Dong Zi really is. Dong Zi turns and asks who he is. Skinny Monkey saw the man step out of the warship and knows he seems strong. Jiang Feng introduces himself as a rank A rune master, a member of the Beijing Rune Master Guild Union, and a special advisor to the Tang family. Poison Wolf realizes that with all of that, this man isn't someone ordinary. And if he's not ordinary, then Tang Yin's identity must be just as complicated. When they discovered her disappearance, Xiao contacted her family, and within moments, 10 expensive warships flew over the area and conducted a wide-scale search. The mercenary leader realizes her surname is Tang and wonders if it's the same as one of the 7 great families. Our hero asks what Jiang Feng wants with him. The swordsman asks what kind of relationship he has with the young lady. Dong Zi says he thinks they're friends. This makes Jiang Feng grab our hero by the collar, and he asks who he thinks he is. Does he really think he's worthy of being her friend? Poison Wolf grips his sword, demanding to know what that rune master thinks he's doing. Tang Yin tells Jiang Feng to let go of Dong Zi immediately. He lets go and says he heard our hero was an ordinary person, but became a rune master after using the awakening medicine. He's very impressed by that. However, even if he is a rune master now, the gap between the two of them is something that cannot be crossed. Therefore, they're not friends, just strangers. Tang Yin says she chooses her own friends, not him. Besides, it was Dong Zi who saved her life. Jiang Feng asks if she's sure about that and tells her not to forget the reason she was in that situation in the first place. And he asks what she thinks will happen to him if her father finds out the incident was caused by Dong Zi. Tang Yin knows that Jiang Feng isn't a bad person, and she understands he's discreetly warning her to keep her distance from our hero, so her father won't cause trouble for him. She responds that she understands and asks if they can go back now. Jiang Feng says he hopes she understands his actions here, but Tang Yin turns away and ignores him. She decides that one day she'll break free from her father's protection, because rune masters shouldn't stay trapped in cities. The wilderness is where they truly belong. Tang Yin tells Dong Zi that she learned a lot from him, and she hopes that they can fight side by side again in the future. Our hero had hoped for a more peaceful life upon becoming a rune master, but it seems their world is far more complicated. If you're not strong enough, then you're not even qualified to be someone's friend, and he'll continue to be looked down upon by stronger rune masters. The warships take off and leave. Dong Zi is determined not to be looked down on again, and now that he's a unique master and has the system's help, it's only a matter of time before he becomes powerful. Red Fox tells him he can stop staring at the place now. because they've all already left. The mercenary asks when he and that girl became so close, but Dongzi looks confused by the question. Red Fox says he doesn't need to hide it and can just tell her when it was that he fell in love with Tang Yin. Our hero asks if she's talking about him. Skinny Monkey says he was looking at her and then just stared into space after she left. And even he can say that Dongzi is in love with her, but Dongzi says he was thinking about something else. Our hero goes back to being deep in thought, while the ships speed above the forest. Tang Yin looks out the window, hoping she'll get to see our hero again in the future. Poison Fang asks the professor if he'll continue his research. Xiao replies that of course he will. The leader of the mercenaries says they now have a new member, but he doesn't need to worry, they won't charge anything extra. Poison Wolf approaches our hero and congratulates him on becoming a rune master, and he welcomes him to his mercenary group. Dongzi looks at his outstretched hand, but quickly shakes Poison Wolf's hand, introducing himself once again as Dongzi, a rank F rune sniper, and asks them to take care of him. And in the following few days, our hero followed that group on several missions. He trained even harder and continued honing his skills as a rune master by defeating rune beasts and gaining more experience. Poison Wolf says that's good, because Dongzi is now easily able to defeat the more common rank F monsters. Our hero also learned more things from the intelligent Professor Xiao, and in the end, the day to return finally came. Dongzi returns to the city alongside Poison Wolf, standing atop the ship, while looking at his status window and seeing how much he's grown. The vehicle soon lands in the hangar, and our hero celebrates finally being back, but wonders how Bai Xiaoxai is doing. Professor Xiao informs him that since the investigation is over, they'll be returning to Beijing, and the information they collected is very important, so he wants to finish his research. Lin Hao says that since Dongzi saved him several times in the forest, if he ever goes to Beijing in the future, he should definitely look for him there, and says he knows Tang Yin isn't interested in him, so he'll help him however he can, but our hero says there's no need because they're just friends. However, the boy tells him not to get too excited because her identity is special and she has many admirers, even he can't make the top 10 among them. Lin Hao tells our hero to work hard, or like Zhang Feng said, he won't even be qualified to be her friend. 3 days later, Jingdu, Sky Sun area, in the bathroom of the Grand Mansion, Tang Yin takes a shower. After finishing, she grabs a towel nearby to dry herself. After that, she drinks tea while looking out the window, realizing that city life is very comfortable, but still wondering why she keeps thinking about those few days in the wild. Tang Yin clearly remembers the moments with Dongzi during the dangerous battle they faced. To her, that is the true stage of a rune master. At that moment, someone knocks on her bedroom door. Tang Yin gets up and says she's coming. She opens the door, revealing an old butler who says a message has just arrived for her. The young lady says she hasn't even taken the entrance exam yet. The butler replies that she's Miss Tang from one of the 7 great families. Of course, she doesn't need to take the exam. Her father already arranged everything for her. The 7 great families, a powerful force that holds the authority and influence of the current union. They use the union's technology and medical knowledge to create all kinds of advanced abilities. When the Rune era began, they led humanity. They are called the pioneering families. Tang Yin is the only daughter of the Tang family's leader, Tang Tangxing. The young woman throws the admission letter to the floor, surprising the butler, who doesn't understand what she's doing. Tang Yin quickly slams the door in the old servant's face. She asks how they've already arranged everything, and why they even bother notifying her. The butler says her father did it because that's the best university, and since she'll obviously get in, he didn't want to waste time on meaningless things. Tang Yin gets irritated by this because to her, proving herself is important. The girl throws herself onto the bed, realizing that she and Dongzi are from different worlds, where he had to risk his life to become a rune master. For her it was easy. But on the other hand, he can choose the life he wants. She can't. Tang Yin wishes she could go back to Qingxi again. At the park in Qingxi, Bai Xiaoxai asks our hero to tell her what happened in the dungeon, and especially how he defeated the red striped toad. Dongzi asks if he hasn't already told that story like 20 times, and whether she's not tired of hearing the same thing, but she says no, and that she wants to hear it again. Our hero asks if anything special happened while he was gone, and Bai Xiaoxai asks if he means the fact that she can control rune beasts. Dongzi knows that only those born with 100% rune spirit can become tamers, but she hasn't tested her spirit yet. If she turns out to be one, her future will be bright. Bai Xiaoxai says nothing happened except for one thing, which makes Dongzi curious. She says, a bit embarrassed, that her stomach is always growling. Our hero says that's because she's hungry, and laughing, she comments that she's been eating a lot lately. Dongzi knows that ever since he became a rune master, he's also been eating more than usual. That makes him wonder if Bai Xiaoxai has already awakened as a tamer, and if that's why she needs more energy. At that moment, Dongzi's phone rings. Poison Wolf says that Big Bull already sold the runes they obtained for money, and his share has been transferred to his bank account. He checks his balance on his phone and is shocked by the amount. More than 80,000. The mercenary leader says that the marble bowl they sold earlier went for 2 million. Our hero realizes that before becoming a rune master, he had to take risks to earn very little, but now in just a few days, he's made more than he used to in a whole year. Poison Wolf says that they usually spend the money to have fun, but since Dongzi just joined, he should buy equipment, and Dongzi replies that he understands. The mercenary leader also says he can treat his friends to a good meal, which makes our hero think that celebrating with friends is a good idea. Dongzi asks Bai Xiaoxai if she wants to go eat seafood. The girl asks if he sold his body for money, and that makes her brother ask what kind of nonsense she's saying now. He says that he's a rune master now and got the money by selling the rune stones from the monsters he defeated. At a restaurant called Golden Glory, Bai Xiaoxai devours a chicken drumstick. She's already eaten way more than everyone else combined. Feng Ru comments that it's a high-class restaurant and asks if that meal must be expensive. Dongzi says that he's paying so they can eat as much as they want. And Zhou Zixian says that since our hero made a lot of money, they don't need to hold back. Our hero says that this is to celebrate the fact that the 3 of them became rune masters. The 4 of them clink glasses in celebration. Zhao Zixian says she's jealous that he's already been to the jungle, while Feng Ru gets excited just thinking about how rich he'll be in the future. Our hero says that since they've awakened, their next step is to take the entrance exam and asks if they've decided which university to attend. The young swordsman says that based on the union rankings, Jidao is the best, followed by Lightning Military School, and then Nanju University. But he doesn't have high hopes of getting into the top ones, and is more interested in rune beast research, so he's going to try for one of the academic universities. Dongzi jokingly says that he made a wise choice since he doubts his combat abilities. Once he goes into the jungle, he'll become monster food. Zhao Zixian replies that she's decided to go to the Lightning Military School, and that her father is a retired soldier and also supports her choice to join that school. Bai Xiaoxai asks, very excited, which university her brother is going to attend. The 3 fall silent at that. Zhao Zixian explains that Dongzi was expelled and so he can't take any admission exams and can't go to any university, which makes the girl sad. Bai Xiaoxai asks why. Why can't he go to university? Feng Ru explains that in this era, available resources are limited and every university slot is extremely valuable, and even though Dongzi has awakened, due to the established rules, he's not allowed to enroll in any university. Zhao Zixian speaks so angrily that she bends her spoon, saying it's all Fang Ji's fault, and if she sees that idiot again, she's going to beat some common sense into him. The young swordsman notices the spoon and says she'll have to pay for it. Dongzi realizes they still don't know what happened in the jungle, but he thinks it's better if they remain unaware. Zhao Zixian says that if our hero wants to become a true rune master, he needs to graduate from university. Bai Xiaoxai asks what Dongzi plans to do now. He says that right now he already has a plan. That makes everyone curious, and Zhou Zixian asks what his plan is. Our hero asks if they've ever heard of the Tempest Thunder trial. The 2 say no and ask what that is. Dongzi says it was Zhao Wu who told him about it. The former soldier explains that universities have very few spots, but the union doesn't want to lose unorthodox geniuses, so they created this special recruitment exam. The Tempest Thunder trial is hosted by the top 10 universities. It's another chance for ungraduated students to enroll through a special admission process. Bai Xiaoxai gets excited, saying that's amazing and that Dongzi will definitely pass the test and enter university. He agrees but says it's not that simple. Participants must survive 3 days on the island and must eliminate opponents or monsters to earn points. People from the top universities will observe everything and score everyone, and those with the highest scores will become special students. Tempest Thunder Island used to be a tourist spot, but it was destroyed by monsters, and the local magnetic field became distorted, creating constant lightning storms in the area. Because of that, aside from other participants and rune beasts, one also has to watch out for the falling lightning. It's truly a place filled with danger. Surviving there for 3 days is already a tough task, and becoming one of the top participants is even harder. Feng Ru puts his hands on his head and says that this test isn't an exam. It sounds worse than going into the jungle. Zhao Zixian asks if he's already signed up, and our hero answers that Poison Wolf and Zhao Wu signed him up, and the test happens on the same day as their admission exam. Bai Xiaoxai says she's scared and doesn't want Dongzi to lose his life on Tempest Thunder Island. Our hero tells her not to worry because participants will receive life-saving capsules, and when they take critical damage, the capsules activate and rescue them. Zhao Zixian says she knows she can't change his mind now, so all she can do is wish him good luck. Dongzi thanks her for that, and the 2 clink their glasses. Later that night, our hero says goodbye to his friends and tells them he'll see them tomorrow. Zhao Zixian also says goodbye and tells the 2 of them to get home safely. Dongzi asks his sister if they should head back now, and she says she wants to go home and watch cartoons. Our hero senses something. After becoming a rune master, his senses have sharpened, and that helps him notice two people following him with ill intent. Dongzi walks through the streets lit by lampposts. Baek Seoksei gets scared and asks where they're going, since that's not the way home. Our hero tells her to be quiet and says he needs to take care of something. He tells her again to stay quiet and wait right there, and the girl says okay. Two people walk nearby, and one of them asks where the two went. Where did they disappear to? Fat Dragon says he saw them go in there, but now he wonders if he saw it wrong. Dongzi surprises them from behind, asking if they're looking for him. Morning says that last time our hero got lucky, but today they're going to settle things. Dongzi replies that it's fine by him, they'll settle it right now. He then lunges forward and punches Fat Dragon in the stomach, hard enough to injure him. Morning gets furious and charges at our hero to strike. The gangster grins as he throws a punch, but Dongzi sees it coming. He easily dodges and counterattacks with an elbow to the enemy's neck. That sends him crashing to the ground. Fat Dragon doesn't understand what's going on and asks how Dongzi got so strong. Our hero asks if they're confused and realizes they still haven't heard the news, which leads him to reveal that he's now a rune master too. That makes the bald gangster say he doesn't believe it, since Dongzi didn't participate in the awakening ceremony. Our hero asks who said one can't become a rune master without taking part in the ceremony, but Fat Dragon says he's a newbie and they're veterans. The gangster pulls out his weapon, a rune baton, and says he's going to teach Dongzi the difference between them and make him regret messing with the two of them. But Fat Dragon is surprised to see a rifle pointed right at his face. Our hero asks what he thinks of his death god's gun, and says that even though he awakened recently, to deal with trash like them who bully others, that weapon is more than enough. Fat Dragon becomes afraid upon seeing that Dongzi's aura is strong, almost like his boss. Our hero says he'll give them one last chance and tells them to scram, which makes the two gangsters run away apologizing, saying they were wrong. Baek Seoksei approaches and calls for Dongzi. She says excitedly that he's really strong, and that last time those two came to scare them, but now it was our hero who scared them off. He laughs, saying those two are weak. After that, Dongzi says they should go home now, and his sister agrees. He knows that Zhou Wenlong is a problem, and there's also Fang Ji's mother. Even though he's a rune master, those two won't leave him alone and might try to go after his sister. Our hero understands that if he wants to protect Baek Seoksei, he'll either have to get rid of both of them or take her out of the Qingxi area, and if neither of those is possible, then he'll need to become strong enough to make them acknowledge him, or find a powerful backer so that neither of them dares to touch them easily. At the Zhaoxi Martial Arts Hall, our hero knees and punches a heavy bag, until he uses his rune power and delivers a powerful blow to the training object. Everyone there is shocked to see 3 machines destroyed on the ground. Dongzi checks the new system mission telling him to undergo brutal physical training. A guy asks if he just awakened and became a rune master, and another says he saw him training there recently, and he was still just a regular human. The older boxer says he saw the strength of our hero's punch. It's over 800, leaving the 2 young men stunned. Dongzi knows that Poison Wolf and Zhao Wu can handle Zhou Wenlong, but Fang Ji's mother is harder to deal with, so he needs to get stronger and find a reliable supporter. The strongest forces in the area are the military, the government, and the tycoons, but the military doesn't get involved with civilians, and Fang Ji's mother works under the minister. And tycoons only care about benefits, and our hero is just another rune master with a common background, so they have no reason to help him. Dongzi throws another punch, but this time it explodes the punching bag, scaring the 3 men who were watching everything. Zhao Wu calls for our hero. Dongzi apologizes, saying he forgot to control his power and ended up breaking it. The ex-soldier says it's just a punching bag and he'll ask someone to clean everything up. He informs him that Poison Wolf came looking for him. This makes Dongzi curious about why they're looking for him. Outside, our hero calls for the mercenary leader. Poison Wolf comments that it's been 3 days, he's gotten even stronger again, and asks if he wants to train. But Dongzi says he's still no match for the mercenary. The mercenary leader says he's a flatterer, but it's good he hasn't gotten arrogant. That makes our hero laugh and ask what they want him to do. Poison Wolf says that in a few days there will be a test, and the participants can bring equipment, so he's taking him to buy things that can help. Dongzi asks what they're going to buy. The mercenary says that he already has a rune weapon, but doesn't have a rune ability yet. Our hero asks if they're taking him to buy an ability. Poison Wolf says yes, and that a weapon with a rune enhances the user's ability, and with the money he has, buying an ability and armor won't be a problem. Dongzi grabs the mercenary, startling him, and quickly runs off saying they should hurry up because he can't wait. But the mercenary yells at him to put him down, and that they're going the wrong way. The two arrive at the Purple Gold Consortium, a place where mercenaries come and go to buy equipment. Dongzi asks if it's only open to rune masters, and Poison Wolf says yes, explaining that the Xiao family controls that store and there's a branch of it in every city. There you can buy everything from weapons to tools, and it's also where you can sell the rune beasts you've hunted. The mercenary leader snaps his fingers and tells Dongzi to go in so he can see what he's talking about. A receptionist asks them to place their hands on the device and release their rune energy for verification. Poison Wolf puts his hand on the device and releases rune energy, showing that he is a rank E rune master. The receptionist says he may enter now. Dongzi understands that ordinary people respect rune masters, and some even admire the more powerful among them. After placing his hand on the machine and releasing rune energy, it's verified that he is rank F. The receptionist says he can enter, though clearly with less enthusiasm. They both walk through the place, seeing people selling runes and other items. Poison Wolf says the first floor is where you can pay a fee and open your own shop, and Dongzi asks if they're going to buy here. The mercenary replies that the best ones are bought by the official store, and that the ones on this floor are all low quality and not good for him, which leaves our hero confused. Poison Wolf says that Dongzi is different from the others, and if they don't find him a good rune skill, then they're wasting his talent. That's why they're going to the second floor. Once they arrive, the mercenary points out some good rune stones. The sales assistant asks if she can help them with anything. The mercenary wastes no time and asks for her personal contact so they can go out for drinks, making the woman flustered and asking him to be more serious. That causes Dongzi to lose track of what his boss is doing. He replies that rune masters get into relationships with regular people all the time, and he's just asking her out. Poison Wolf says our hero is a rune sniper and asks the assistant to show him the best skills available. Money is not an issue. She quickly asks the two of them to follow her. The assistant notices that our hero is quite young. She shows the dude 3 rune skills that are currently very popular among rune snipers: Piercing Shot, Snake Eyes, and Gun Technique. All of them are rank F. Poison Wolf tells Dongzi to see if he likes any of them. Our hero knows that Piercing Shot has the highest damage, but his weapon is rank E, so its damage is already high. Gun Technique is more for survival and not that good for a sniper, but Snake Eyes is very good, and Red Fox has it too. Dongzi says he liked that ability, and Poison Wolf comments that it's a good choice. The assistant says it costs 130,000, which surprises our hero since it's so expensive. The mercenary leader pulls out a card and says he'll pay with it. Dongzi says he can't accept it, but Poison Wolf replies that they're family, and if he doesn't feel good about it, he can pay him back when he gets rich. The mercenary says the test won't be easy, so it's better to be in his best shape, and that ability will help him. Our hero thanks him and says he understands. The assistant hands over the rune and says that the Purple Gold Consortium wishes for his path to be smooth, and that he achieves his goal. Poison Wolf knows those were just sweet words, but no discount was given. Our hero feels more confident now with that rune ability. At that moment, Poison Wolf says since they finished their business, he asks the assistant if she wants to go for drinks, but the assistant says she can't because her boss is about to arrive. The mercenary says that if it's her boss, then it must be the local manager, and wonders if he remembers correctly that she's a classy lady named Xiao Qi Quink. Right then, the saleswoman welcomes Manager Xiao. That makes our hero turn around in surprise. Poison Wolf cheerfully greets Manager Xiao. She says if he wants to drink, he should go to the bar and stop bothering her employee. But he asks if there's a rule that forbids employees from going out with customers, because he just wants to get to know the woman better. Dongzi thinks he's shameless. The manager says it's good that he's serious, because she's very protective of her employees and she won't tolerate it if he's just playing with the sales girl's feelings. Poison Wolf complains that she really knows how to ruin someone's mood, which was expected from the rose with thorns. Xiao Qi looks at our hero and thinks he's a student, but instead of studying, he's following the mercenary chasing after girls and assumes the two are just alike. The manager says she's attending to a VIP client on the 3rd floor and asks the sales girl to prepare a good tea for them. The woman replies that she will. She climbs the stairs, leaving the dude behind. Dongzi says it seems like Manager Xiao has a rather unusual identity. Poison Wolf says if he wants to know, he can tell him more. The Xiao family is the wealthiest among the 7 pioneer families, and that Xiao Qi is the illegitimate daughter of the 2nd master of the family. She lived her whole life with her mother, and after her mother passed away 3 years ago, she finally found her father and became a member of the Xiao family. But they didn't want to recognize or accept her, so they sent her to Qingshi as a store manager, though in truth, she was exiled from the family. However, she is smart and cunning, and before she arrived, the store had a lot of problems with bandit attacks, but she spent a lot of money making the transport routes safe again. Many tried to find different ways to handle the situation, but she was bold enough to clean out the criminal elements and turn that into profit. Poison Wolf says that just by looking at her, you can tell she's not someone to mess with. Dongzi realizes she's someone successful who doesn't care about the minister or the black market. If he can gain her support, he won't have to worry about his enemies. The mercenary says he doesn't like that type of woman and prefers cute and gentle ones, and our hero asks him not to cause any trouble because he doesn't want to get kicked out. Poison Wolf asks what he's talking about and says if he doesn't start paying attention now, he'll never know when his love story might begin, and says that either way he's going to look for a pretty girl and Dongzi can look around too. This leaves our hero confused. It makes him realize the mercenary is very energetic, while Zhao Wood is solely focused on his daughter. Many people walk through the store using the escalators. Someone catches Dongzi's attention. He believes that person looks familiar, and is being escorted by Xiao Qi King's security guards. In Manager Xiao's office, someone serves a cup of tea, but the Salshiro from earlier is suddenly grabbed by the hooded man, startling her. Xiao Qi Qing slams the table, annoyed, and tells Yujin to be careful with his actions. He's not in the lawless forest anymore, but in the city. The attendant runs off, embarrassed after being released. The man complains that the city has too many unnecessary rules and that the wild is much freer. He finally removes the cloak covering his face, and says that out there no one is judged, and everything depends on one's strength. But the manager says that out there is also merciless, and the smallest mistake can cost you your life. Yujin replies that she's right and asks why she called him there today. Xiao Qi says she wants to do business with him and asks him to look at something. She uses a remote control to turn it on. A holographic map appears, and she says they've already cleared the transport routes in the area, and only one that leads to Wrong City is still blocked by the Ash Gang. Yujin asks, so what? The manager says she wants him to let the people from the Purple Gold Consortium use that route for transport. The outlaw slams the table and angrily asks if she wants him to abandon the route that his gang depends on to survive, and if she expects him and his brothers to starve. Xiao Qi replies no, and says they'll pay a certain fee to the gang, and that way he won't be at a loss either. Yujin asks if she thinks she can buy him with money, and says he doesn't give a damn about that fee. The manager knows he's irrational, but Wrong is one of the main cities in the district, and if she can't open the route, she'll continue to be looked down on by her family. She then asks what he wants, and as long as it's within her reach, the store will do its best to meet his demands. Yujin says he only needs her to do one thing. If she's capable, she should make Jean kneel and bow 3 times to him. Xiao Qi asks if he's being serious, saying she doesn't have the authority to command the minister. Yujin stands up and says that in that case, they're done here. One of the guards orders him to stop, and says she hasn't allowed him to leave yet. Yujin asks if that's so and throws a powerful punch at the guard's face, breaking his glasses and knocking him to the ground. The outlaw pulls out his weapon and points it at the man, asking if he really thinks a weak piece of trash like him can stop him. The manager tells him to let Yujin go. The guards follow her command, making the outlaw laugh in contempt. In the end, he leaves the office, and the manager becomes certain that he's a lunatic. There are rumors that he used to work for Minister Zhang in the past, but the minister beat his sister until she lost her life. And in retaliation, Yujin took the life of the politician's wife. After that, he fled to the jungle and gathered the bandits there to form the Ash Gang. And even though she is from the Chao family, her influence is on the same level as the minister's, so she has no authority to command him. Something catches the manager's attention. She notices Yujin with Dongzi and wonders if that's the same young man who was with Poison Wolf earlier. This makes her question what connection he has with the outlaw. Our hero is looking at a rune on display, and at that moment, a hand reaches out and grabs him. Dongzi wonders if someone really dares to attack him inside that place. Yujin says that it really is him, and that he thought our hero had lost his life that day. Dongzi asks if it's really Boss Yu, and the outlaw confirms that it is indeed him. Our hero asks why he's in the city, saying that if the prosecutor finds out, he won't be able to leave, but the bandit replies that if he can enter, he can leave. Dongzi comments that he really is strong and brave, and Yujin says that he's different. After giving out the awakening potion, many followed him, but he didn't expect Dongzi to survive. Our hero laughs and says it was just luck. The outlaw says it's not bad at all, and that in a short time he awakened and even enhanced his combat ability, and that his offer still stands. If Dongzi can't live in the city, he can join the gang. Dongzi thanks him, but says he doesn't plan on going to the jungle. Yujin says there's no fun in being a coward in the city, and that rune masters belong in the wilderness. Our hero knows he's already provoked Fang Ji's mother and Jiu Wenlong, and wonders if he'll end up provoking the minister too if he stays too close to the bandit. Yujin says he has high expectations for Dongzi, and that he'll always be welcome to join the gang anytime. Dongzi replies that he'll remember that, but our hero wonders to himself if the bandit is trying to make him an enemy of all of Kingshe. Yujin says goodbye and adds that since he rarely comes to the city, he's going to find some women to spend time with. Dongzi knows the outlaw's presence carries overwhelming pressure, and that compared to him, he's still too weak and could be executed with a single blow. Our hero decides to avoid hanging around with the bandit since his sister is still young and he can't take her to live in the jungle. At that moment, Xiao Qi-ching appears and asks Dong Zi for his name. Our hero wonders why she's looking for him. The manager asks for his name again, and he replies that his name is Dong Zi. She asks if he's a rune master and says he doesn't look strong. Our hero asks what she wants. Xiao Qi-ching asks our hero to follow her, and she takes him to her office. Dong Zi feels out of place and realizes that the room is bigger than his house, which is exactly what one would expect from the Purple Gold Consortium. The sales assistant says the manager asked her to prepare tea for him. She offers him some, and our hero thanks her. He takes a sip, and the manager says that tea is made from leaves taken from a place with rank C rune beasts, which makes it expensive. Just 1 cup costs around 10,000. That catches him off guard, enough for him to spit out the tea while asking if it's really that expensive. Xiao Qi-ching says he just spat out 3,000 union coins, which leaves Dong Zi speechless. Our hero says he can't afford to drink her tea, but she tells him to forget about it and sit down again, because she needs his help with something. Dong Zi wonders what such a rich lady could possibly need his help with. The manager asks what his relationship with Yujin is. That makes our hero realize she saw them talking, and he wonders whether he should tell her and whether she'll report it to the minister. Dong Zi decides to play dumb and asks who Yujin is. Xiao Qi-ching says he's clever and she likes that. She admits she invited him to talk business, but they're not friends, and the conversation didn't go well. Our hero asks why she called him, and she says he seems to have some friendship with Yujin, and if he can convince him, she'll reward him generously. Dong Zi understands how this is going to go and decides to talk about the reward first. Xiao Qi-ching notices that our hero speaks like a businessman and offers 1 million. Our hero says he needs to be alive to use that money, and that over time he'll make his own. But his relationship with Yujin isn't as good as she thinks. The manager tells him to be more direct if he's going to ask for money, and asks how much he wants, but our hero says he doesn't want money, he wants an investment. Xiao Qi-ching asks if he wants to start a business, and that won't be a problem. He can choose any shop in the building and they'll give him 10 years rent-free. Dong Zi says he doesn't want a business investment, but one in himself. That makes the manager ask what he means by that. Our hero says he just awakened and has a limitless future, but he has no backing, which means there will be many challenges and obstacles along the way. But if manager Xiao is willing to support him, then he will become a powerful rune master in the future and will return the favor. And of course, he'll start by helping her convince Yujin, but he can't promise success. Xiao Qi-ching says it would be much better if she just paid him 1 million, and asks why she should invest in his future. Does he think she's short on specialists? Dong Zi says her best bodyguard is rank D, and in King Shai that's not bad, but he asks if people like that mean much in the Chow family, which surprises her. He says that since she's being honest, he'll reveal that after taking the awakening medicine, he has maximum spirit, and with support, his future will go far beyond rank D. And if that weren't true, he asks her how she thinks someone like Yujin treats him so well. Xiao Qi-ching falls into thought, and if it's all true, Dong Zi could become a rank S, and she knows he wouldn't dare lie because a simple test would reveal it. The manager accepts the idea and asks how he wants her to help. He says he has 3 requests. First, help him with everything related to university, but he'll cover his daily expenses. Second, give his sister the best treatment in school. Xiao Qi-ching says that's not a problem. Dong Zi says lastly, he's provoked 2 powerful people, and if she can help him with that, he'll speak to Yujin right away. The manager asks who it is that he provoked. Our hero replies that it was the boss of the Black Fist Hall from the underworld, Zhou Wenlong, and the minister's assistant, Song Fang. Xiao Qi-ching repeats the 2 names, asking if it's really those 2. She sits back in her chair and says that won't be a problem, but asks how exactly our hero provoked them. Dong Zi says that he unintentionally caused trouble for Zhou Wenlong's business, but the issue with Song Fang is irreconcilable. Several days ago, her whole family wanted him dead, and he ended up taking her husband's life. She says that in fights between rune masters, that's normal, but if that had been reported, the prosecutor would have already come for him, and since that hasn't happened, she didn't report it. The manager asks if our hero understands what that means, and he replies that Song Fang wants revenge by her own means. She says she'll handle them, but that he needs to help her first. Dong Zi says he'll talk to Yujin, but warns that he doesn't know if he'll be able to convince him. She smiles and tosses a phone to our hero, telling him to call the bandit now, and if he refuses, she'll have to reconsider their cooperation. Dong Zi knows that even if Yujin treats him well, this is a matter that affects his own interests, and he has no idea how he'll respond. Our hero has no choice but to try now, so he calls the outlaw. Yujin answers the phone and asks what Xiao Qi-ching wants this time. Dong Zi says it's him on the line. This makes the outlaw ask why he's using Boss Xiao's number to talk to him. Yujin tells him not to say he's become her toy, but our hero says no and asks him to stop joking around. Dong Zi says he was hoping Yujin would agree to work with the manager as a personal favor. That makes the outlaw think for a moment and then he says he's willing to cooperate with her. Our hero asks if that's true, and Shou Qi becomes curious. Yujin says he looked into him and found out he executed the minister's subordinate, and since they share the same enemy, he'll be happy to help him. Dongzi wonders what kind of grudge this is, and the outlaw says that today he's doing him a favor, but when he needs help, Dongzi won't be allowed to refuse. Dongzi agrees. Our hero wonders if Yujin plans to attack the minister, and how could a mere rank F possibly help him? Yujin says the deal is sealed then. Dongzi returns the phone and says the outlaw accepted. Shou Qi asks if it was really that easy. Our hero says it seems like Yujin likes him. The manager believes that since his rune spirit is at 100%, it's no surprise the outlaw likes him. She knows the world doesn't offer help when people need it, so they must be prepared, and if she helps him now, then once Dongzi is powerful, he'll be loyal to her, and that it's worth nurturing someone like him. Shou Qi says he won't need to worry about Jiao Wenlong and Song Fang, and asks what he'll do now. Our hero says he's going to participate in the Tempest Thunder trial. That surprises the manager. After the meeting, night falls over the city. A man complains as he slams his hands on the balcony railing. Jiao Wenlong asks how Dongzi managed to get close to Shou Qi. Song Fang says she has a lot of influence there, and that it'll be difficult for them to deal with him. The gangster asks if they're going to give up and reminds her that our hero took the lives of her son and husband with his own hands. Song Fang tells him to shut up and says she won't let this go, no matter who is helping him. Jiao Wenlong asks what they'll do now. The woman says only the minister will be able to deal with Dongzi. The gangster says the minister won't act just for their sake. Song Fang says they just need to make the two get into a fight. 4 days remain until the admission exam, and a ship flies through the skies. Red Fox is piloting the vehicle, taking our hero on his journey. Dongzi knows that while he's taking the test, his friends, Zhao Xishan and Feng Ru, will be doing the admission exam in 3 days, and he never imagined that Shou Qi would personally see him off, and that during these days, Jiao Wenlong and Song Fang seem to have backed off, leaving his sister temporarily safe. Red Fox says they'll arrive at the port tonight, and it's best for him to rest because they'll leave with the other participants tomorrow, but Dongzi wants to train more. The mercenary asks if he plans to train right here, and if he's some kind of training maniac. Our hero says he's going to run 50 kilometers first. She tells him to get out of the cockpit. Dongzi collapses on the floor, exhausted and out of breath, but celebrates having finally finished. He wonders what kind of mysterious reward he'll receive. Our hero drinks the potion and notices that his rune spirit has increased to 106%. Then he asks to open the mission reward and receives a pair of enhancement goggles. That makes him wonder if the equipment he already had has leveled up. He questions if the goggles can analyze the target's ability, and that normally they only show estimated ranks from F to A, and wonders if they can now display everything in detailed data. Dongzi observes Red Fox's data and notes that it really works. He realizes that she has low strength and high agility, and with the glasses he can analyze the target's weaknesses and plan ways to counter them. This will be useful for his survival. Red Fox asks why our hero is staring at her, and he awkwardly apologizes. She doesn't understand anything but continues piloting the ship. 3 days until the entrance exam, Tempest Thunder Port. Dongzi says it's the first time he's seen the ocean. Red Fox says that before the rune beasts, humans had barely explored it, and now it's full of monsters. She points ahead, saying that's Tempest Thunder Island. The wormholes cause a disturbance in the magnetic field, which is why lightning constantly strikes the island, sometimes for 3 full days, except in the last hectare. Dongzi understands that the test will take place there, and those who endure until the end will gather in the last hectare area. Red Fox says the test isn't just about surviving, they have to earn many points. And during those 3 days, our hero can also form alliances with others. She suggests he find good teammates, but says it's also fine to go alone. Dongzi asks if it would be like the Blood Wolf team. In the harbor plaza, several ships begin to leave. Red Fox says that if our hero follows that path, he'll reach the plaza where the oath ceremony will take place. He replies that he's going now. The mercenary says this won't be as dangerous as the dungeon, but he still needs to do his best, and she'll be waiting for his return. Dongzi gives a thumbs up and replies, of course. He holds a yellow rune and says he received it as soon as he entered the plaza, and is stunned by the advanced technology that can track the user's location and create an emergency capsule to protect the competitor, but using it results in disqualification. Our hero is certain that with that badge, at least he won't need to worry about dying on that island. He looks ahead, noticing several people also looking at him, and wonders if he'll have to compete against all of them. Dongzi realizes he underestimated the test, which is held nationwide, and any rune master who failed the entrance exam and is within the age limit can participate. Among them, some failed the university exam, and others are like our hero, who awakened through other means and are now here, meaning this won't be easy. Dongzi knows the age gap between the youngest and oldest participants is 6 years, which is significant, and it confirms for him that this test won't be easier than the dungeon. The ships leave one by one as the participants head to the plaza. Yan Yi, a rank of rune archer, looks out the window and asks how many underdogs will rise this year, saying he's excited to see it. At that moment, someone says he's too optimistic, but unlike him, they have no expectations for these rejected trash. Liu Shiji, a rank of rune scout, says all these failures can't be compared to the elites who passed the university exam. Yan Yi says there have been many strong people here before, and Lei Zhe got into 7 lights through this test, and now he's a rank S rune master. The rune scout says that was an exception, and he should know that over 10 years, only a few graduated, and most who passed this test gave up afterward. And if you ask him, the Tempest Thunder trial is unnecessary and a waste of the Union's resources. Yan Yi says they shouldn't give up on any rune master, and that, at the very least, he is this year's chief examiner. A secretary approaches and announces that the oath ceremony is about to begin, which makes Yan Yi say they should head to the ceremony. Liu Shiji crosses his arms and says nothing else, but he's irritated and wonders why Yan Yi is the new chief examiner when it was always him doing it every year. One of his subordinates says that he, as vice examiner, also needs to give a speech at the ceremony. That makes him even angrier, and he orders the subordinate to call him Examiner Liu, which intimidates the young man. Another man calls him vice examiner and says they detected strange phenomena occurring around the island. That makes Liu Shiji slap the papers out of the researcher's hands. He repeats that they must not call him vice examiner, and the man with glasses, scared, responds that he understands. After that, Liu Shiji orders him to say what's strange. The researcher says the magnetic field is acting oddly and the lightning storms are more fierce and aggressive. But the rune scout asks what's so strange about that, since it's always been like that. But he's told this time is different, and everyone thinks it would be better to postpone the test. Liu Shiji asks if he's joking, expecting him to waste more of his precious time with those failures. He turns around and orders them to proceed with the test as planned. The researcher simply says yes. The arcane scout stops and looks at several security screens showing all the competitors in different areas. To him, all that trash is just a waste of his time. He wishes this stupid test would be cancelled. As night falls, several ships cast lights on the participants in the plaza, and from one of them a voice announces that the oath ceremony is about to begin and asks everyone to remain quiet. Dongzi notices the announcement wasn't made using a microphone, but just the voice alone, making him realize the examiner used rune energy to amplify his voice. The ship door opens, and Yan Yi appears, jumping down from the ship, surprising everyone. He finally lands in the center of the plaza. People comment that he didn't get a single scratch after jumping from that height, and that they heard he's an A-rank examiner, and another young man says he's just like his minister. Yan Yi welcomes everyone to the Tempest Thunder trial and introduces himself as their examiner. He reveals a powerful aura in the shape of a beast. Our hero thinks he's strong, just as expected from an A-rank. Dongzi puts on his visor and decides to check the examiner's data, but he can't see anything except question marks. That surprises him, and he believes it must be due to the difference in strength between them. Right behind Yan Yi, Liu Shiji lands on the ground. He calls everyone failures and trash and introduces himself as Examiner Liu. Dongzi wonders what's wrong with Liu Shiji. A guy says he was always the main examiner, but apparently he got replaced. A young woman says he always despises the participants, and another young man says he wants to beat him up. Our hero understands that Liu Shiji was the previous examiner and really seems like someone who's asking for a beating. The scout says he's not talking about just one person there, but all of them. They're all just garbage. Yan Yi tells the vice examiner that that's enough. That makes Liu Shiji internally complain about being called that. Yan Yi says not everyone can become a rune master, which means they are already better than most people in the world, and as the head examiner, he is proud of them. Our hero smiles, seeing that at least someone knows how to talk to people. Yan Yi says that, as the head examiner, he will now remind everyone once more of the test rules. Since many of them failed the admission exam, it means most of them have little talent. But on the path to becoming a rune master, hard work is more important than talent. The Union conducts this test to give those who work hard another chance. If they want to prove themselves, they must be brave and accept putting their lives at risk. Even though the badge can protect them, many participants have already lost their lives on that island, so everyone must be smart and careful. When the test starts, everyone will be dropped from a ship into a random spot on the island. They are not allowed to bring anything beyond the permitted items like food and water, as they'll need to find those themselves. Lightning is common, and the safe zones will shrink, so it's best not to stay in one place for the full 3 days, and be careful of entering the lightning zones. On the island, participants can eliminate other contestants or rune beasts to earn points. The final score and performance will determine whether they'll be accepted as special students. This year there are many participants, but very few will pass, and not all available spots will be filled. This shows how difficult the test is, and it's their last chance. And finally, Yan Yi wishes everyone good luck and hopes they receive a recruitment offer from the universities. With that, the examiner ascends into the sky with wings made of rune energy. Dongzi knows that's an ability only those ranked B and above can learn. Rune wings, which allow someone to fly freely through the skies like a bird. Liu Shiji says the test allows only 5 people per team, so those who decided to go solo can go straight to the cargo ship. Those without teams or who want to form one must go to the registration area, where his subordinates are working. Our hero knows that if he ends up finding a team only after reaching the island, he'll be at a disadvantage and become a target, so it's better to find a team now, just like Red Fox suggested. A man asks the participant's name, and he responds, Gao Tongkai, who is then told to fill out the form and wait nearby. Someone asks a girl if she wants to form a team with him. A chubby guy says he's really strong and can take a lot of hits. The girl says someone like him will just be a target on the island and tells him to stay away from her. That leaves the guy upset, but he quickly turns to Dong Zi and asks if he wants to form a team, which makes our hero wonder if he was the backup choice. Our hero uses the visor and notices that the guy is unbalanced. His strength and physique are twice that of a normal person, but his agility and wisdom are average. The young man tells Dong Zi not to assume he's just fat. He's strong and has already taken down a rune beast with his bare hands. Our hero becomes thoughtful, realizing that Zhuang Shang can take hits and could serve as bait so he can get the opportunity to bring down targets. To some, the guy might be a burden, but to Dong Zi, he's the perfect partner. Our hero replies yes, saying he was just looking for teammates and suggests they register first and then see if they can recruit 3 more members. The young man grabs Dong Zi's hand tightly, crying with happiness, and thanks him, saying that someone finally accepted him into a team. Our hero introduces himself, saying he's a rune sniper from Rong City in the Qingxi district. The guy introduces himself as Zhuang Shang, a unique tank from Hang City in the Lingbi district. The girl from earlier asks if he really accepted the fat guy and if he thinks the test isn't already hard enough. But our hero has his own plans. Liu Shiji's subordinate asks if it's just the 2 of them and if no one else wants to join their team, and mockingly asks who would join that fat lump who's just dead weight. That makes Zhuang Shang furious, but our hero tells him to stay calm. People say that guy always insults participants and only does it because he got into university through the entrance exam and is the vice examiner's subordinate, and that's why he hates them. The man thinks they're all failures who don't deserve the same treatment as those who pass through the exam. He tells them not to write their names together. He points out a mistake Zhuang Shang made and tells him to rewrite the form. Dong Zi realizes this is on purpose and that it won't leave enough time for others, which will force everyone behind them to fight solo. The man slaps the young man in the face, asking if he didn't understand what he was told and told him to change it. That makes Zhuang Shang truly furious, but Dong Zi puts a hand on his shoulder and says it's not worth it. That makes the guy think that he thought our hero was clever, but now he's starting to think he's a coward and that he was wrong about him. The vice examiner's subordinate says he's going to take a break and that they should find him after filling out the forms. Our hero notices some large containers on the ground and believes that will be enough for now. The man loves seeing them angry and too afraid to retaliate, but Dong Zi literally leaps at him with the container, startling him, and shoves the guy inside the bin. Zhuang Shang realizes our hero was just waiting for the right chance. Dong Zi shouts that now they can hit him. The crowd cheers, and the chubby guy says he's going to beat him so bad he'll look like a pig. Others rush in wanting to kick and hit the man too. In the end, everyone gangs up on the guy, until the container goes flying through the air. The man yells, asking how they dare hit him, and says he's going to disqualify all of them. Someone shouts that Yan Yi has arrived. That makes the man complain that the participants attacked him, but the chief examiner asks if he has any evidence of that. The man replies that the security cameras recorded everything. Everyone there pretends to know nothing. The examiner says that there's also footage of him bullying the participants, but the man claims it was all a misunderstanding. Yan Yi says it's not like that at all and transfers him to the background group, where many tasks are waiting for him to do there. The head examiner turns to Dong Zi, who realizes that this rune master knows everything he's done. Yan Yi wanted to offer encouragement to the participants who were left without a team, but he never expected to find such an interesting individual. The examiner places his hand on our hero's shoulder and praises him, saying he's calm and clever, and hopes he can pass with stellar performance. In the end, Yan Yi walks away and wishes our hero good luck. People comment that the examiner praised him and that they're jealous, but they notice Dong Zi only has 1 member in his team and believe they still have a chance to join him. Our hero watches Yan Yi Li and smiles with confidence. Dong Zi looks at his team form, and Zhuang Xinan comments that they still have 3 spots available. A young man says he's been a scout for 3 years and that they need one. Another young man also asks to join the group. Another participant comments that strong people should be with other strong people and asks if Dongzi wants to join his team. Our hero understands that after being recognized by the head examiner, everyone wants to join his team. Zhuang Xinyang says that since they now have power, they should choose the strongest ones there. Dongzi knows that everyone there was left behind, and even if they're decent, they can't compare to the top teams. That's why he needs to choose carefully. A normal team has 5 members who can handle all kinds of situations. They need a leader, a strategist, a tank, a scout, and a healer. But with the current situation, forming a perfect team is difficult. Zhuang Xiang asks what kinds of people Dongzi is looking for. He replies that he needs a strategist and someone agile. Most importantly, someone trustworthy. The young man says he thinks he can be the strategist. That makes our hero think his specialty might be being overly confident. At that moment, Dongzi notices someone, leaving Zhuang Xiang confused. Our hero wonders who that young man is. The system identifies him, which makes Dongzi smile. Seeing that his attributes are average but his wisdom is high, exactly the kind of person he was looking for. Dongzi asks Zhuang Xiang to follow him. The young man touches the metal case on the other guy's back and asks what's inside that huge box. He replies that they're weapons that can take lives. That leaves the chubby competitor speechless. Our hero asks if he needs teammates, and Zhuang Xiang wonders if he can tell them what his profession is. The young man introduces himself as Tang Yu, rank F, and says he's a mechanic. Zhuang Xiang says there's a saying that elites look down on normals, melee fighters look down on ranged ones, and all rune masters look down on mechanics. Our hero knows that, unlike rune weapon builders, mechanics use runes to create mechanical weapons like hidden devices that even regular people can use. He believes Tang Yu is different because, unlike rune masters, he chose to make humanity stronger. Dongzi says he wants him on the team. Zhuang Xiang asks if he's lost his mind, and says there are stronger participants who want to join them, and that guy has a profession without any combat skills. Our hero asks if he knows who created the barrier that protects the cities and the rune cannons on the wall. The chubby one answers that it was the mechanics. Dongzi says they themselves aren't strong, but the weapons they can create are better than normal ones, and the test doesn't allow mechanical weapons to be brought in, but mechanics can. Bringing Tang Yu is like having a mobile weapons warehouse, and since they're all rank F, the strongest monster should be rank E, and he believes that the young man and his weapons will be useful. Zhuang Xiang says that since Dongzi is the leader, he'll trust his judgment. Our hero hands the form to the mechanic and says he wants him on his team. Tang Yu tells him not to regret it later, and he writes his name on the form. Dongzi says that now they're teammates. They'll enjoy the benefits and face the dangers together. Tang Yu shakes our hero's hand, agreeing with him. Zhuang Xiang gets excited and says there are still 2 spots left on the team. Everyone starts shouting that they want to join and beg to be chosen. The chubby one says they can only pick 2 more, but the participants keep asking to be picked and say they're good fighters. Zhuang Xiang comments that those who were selected don't really seem that strong. Our hero replies that they fit perfectly into the remaining positions on the team. Zhang Qi, a rank F rune swordsman, and Cheng Lulu, a rank F rune shooter. Dongzi knows the 2 know each other and came from the same city, not to mention their skills are among the best of the participants, and he says he's confident in their team and hopes they can trust each other inside Tempest Thunder Island, and that they'll be able to rely on one another when facing any challenge ahead. They all put their hands together in the center of the group and say they're going to make it. In a large city, already morning, someone lands a heavy punch against a sandbag. Tang Yin hears on TV that the Tempest Thunder trial will take place on the same day as this year's entrance exam, with nearly 3,000 participants. On screen appears our hero while the host says that the top universities are involved in the special recruitment, including Jidao University and Kaiyao. The girl believes someone she knows is also participating in this year's test, and that he's a very stubborn guy. She remembers that her uncle was furious because he gave up on the entrance exam to participate in the trial and show everyone the capabilities of a mechanic. The presenter goes on to say that they'll have to wait and see how many underdogs will rise. Tang Yin wonders if that's Dongzi, and if he's also participating in the test. She had forgotten that our hero couldn't attend the awakening ceremony, and if he wants to enter a university, he needs to pass that test. Tang Yin wonders if her cousin and Dongzi are on the same team and thinks this is going to be interesting. She wishes our hero good luck. From the cargo ship, the examiner asks everyone to board according to the number they were given. The test will last 3 days and will begin as soon as they leave the ship. Zhuang Xinan points out that that's their vehicle and tells them to get in. All the ships take off at the same time. Inside them, the participants wait, seated in their places. A team stares at our hero's group. It creates a tense atmosphere until one of them says the fat guy should jump last. Zhuang Xiang asks why he said that. The boy replies that way they'll be able to eliminate him and get a few points, which makes another boy start laughing. That makes the chubby one nervous, but Tang Yu slams a metal box on the floor, drawing the attention of those 2 boys, and asks why they don't all jump together since his RPG is eager for action. Zhang Qi questions why he brought such heavy weaponry, and whether it's against the rules. Tang Yu replies that he's a mechanic and those weapons are his own inventions, so he has permission to bring them. The two boys from the other team get scared by that. Zhuang Xiang says Tang Yu is trustworthy and that he'll punch anyone who says mechanics are weak. Dongzi asks if he can say what's in his weapon crate. The young man starts listing: a machine gun, cannon, self-destruct drone. This excites the chubby one, saying they're definitely going to take first place. The ships fly into the lightning storm. Chang Lulu is scared, but her friend tells her not to be afraid because the thunder won't hurt them. Dongzi knows that island was once a lively place, but a few years ago several rune beasts emerged, forcing everyone to abandon it. The wormholes disrupted the local magnetic field, creating constant lightning storms, isolating the monsters, which range from rank F to a maximum of rank E. The radio announces that they've entered the island's airspace and asks everyone to grab their parachutes and prepare to jump. Zhuang Xiang is confused and asks what they mean by parachutes and jumping. He looks ahead, becoming curious as he notices the two boys are tense, and asks why they're like that. But his question is interrupted as the hatch suddenly opens, throwing those boys out, and upon seeing that, Zhuang Xiang becomes terrified, and says he just realized he's afraid of heights. After that, the cargo compartment opens and he's launched with the group, screaming that he curses them all to eat instant noodles without the flavor packet. Our hero notices that no one dares to attack in the middle of the fall. Chang Lulu is still frightened by everything, but she gathers the courage to open her eyes, and upon seeing the place, she comments that it's very beautiful. Dongzi knows that the island's port is close to the sea, but even that can't compare to the view of Tempest Thunder Island. Zong Qi calls out to our hero and asks where they should land. Dongzi looks down and decides that everyone will land on the bridge. Tang Yu notices that the island is divided into two parts connected by the bridge, and if they can protect it, they'll have an advantage during the test. That makes him realize our hero is smarter than he thought. Something quickly flies past Dongzi, leaving feathers behind. He shouts for everyone to be careful because it's a rune beast. The rune bird charges at Chang Lulu. Zhang Qi gets worried and yells for his friend, making her turn and see the monster approaching to grab her. The creature grabs her parachute, making her scream in fear. Dongzi tells her to hold on while pulling out his rune rifle. He breathes, aims at the creature, and only then fires the weapon, taking down the rune beast with a precise shot. With the monster defeated, Zhang Qi comments that it was an amazing shot, and Chang Lulu thanks him. However, the girl's friend notices her parachute was damaged by the rune beast's claws and warns her about it. She looks back and is shocked by the state of the parachute. Our hero asks if Zhuang Xiang can reach her, but he replies that they're too far and he won't make it. Dongzi asks if Tang Yu has any ideas. He replies that everyone should listen to him and stack themselves on top of each other. He's going to give them a boost, and the other two need to do the same and push the last person toward Chang Lulu with maximum speed. Zhuang Xiang yells full power and kicks the other two, but notes that they're getting close to the ground. Zhang Qi pushes our hero and says he's entrusting the girl's life to him. Dongzi reaches her and tells her to grab his hand, and as soon as she does, he deploys his parachute, but they were already too close to the trees, and both crash into them, ending up hanging from a branch. After a while, Chang Lulu wakes up, and our hero asks if she's okay. She says she's fine and thanks him for saving her life again. He says it's alright but informs her that they now have a new problem. Dongzi cuts the parachute straps, and both land safely on the ground. Chang Lulu says she can't hear anyone and that they must have been separated from the group. Our hero says their communicator has only a 500-meter range. He decides to stick to the original plan and regroup at the bridge, believing Tang Yu and the others will certainly be there. Meanwhile, the ship with the examiners and test staff flies over the island. Yan Yi observes what everyone is doing through the monitor as someone approaches him. Bo Quan, the recruiter from Judao University, asks the head examiner how things are going. Liu Shiji steps in front of the head examiner and replies that everything is under their control. Yan Yi says 13 participants were disqualified during the parachute jump. That makes the vice examiner say they're all a bunch of trash and failures, and he asks what more could be expected of them. Someone questions if he knows why he's not the head examiner this year. Sai Q, the recruiter from Qiyao University, says it's because of his attitude of always looking down on others, and that's why everyone despises him.
Our video ends here. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, bye bye.